7 of Pro Wrestling Talk. I'm here with my co-host Steph, alongside with D tonight. Unfortunately, Greg can't be with us, even though he was supposed to be, because the Yankees game is blacked out in Houston, so he'll have to watch it at a bar. So he'll be
Mm.
hopefully be with us next week to preview WrestleMania. And programming notes, since when I talked about it, Pro Wrestling Talk will be Friday at 7 next week, not Saturday, because we have to preview WrestleMania, and WrestleMania is now 2 nights, so we can't do the show on Saturday. So that's what's going on. So I'll be reminding everybody again at the end, but thanks D for coming on, and let's get to it.
Let's get it.
Yep. As everyone knows, on Monday Night Raw, it was from Chicago. It was a big episode. Everybody loved it. And it started off with The Rock coming, or Cody Rhodes coming to the ring and cutting his standard babyface promo. At one point he says something to the effect of, "Well, I paid for a third of those seats at WrestleMania." I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, you're giving away tickets to people you know." But
Kind of
yeah, and
sounds like
then
he's setting it up for him to win. Like if he's buying a third of those seats, it kind of sounds like that maybe that article was wrong. Because I had seen an article
hmm
on X that says, um, maybe he won't win against Roman Reigns because they have a different plan for him. But I mean, it kind of sounds like maybe he's setting himself up for victory there.
yeah, and he said, I'm gonna pay for a for the bachelor party of a dude named Anthony, and his wife's like, "Who's Anthony?" I don't know, So one of those standard babyface promos, He and then he said he's gonna beat the Rock, and actually he said he's gonna beat the final boss and the tribal chief, and that's when the Rock's music plays and everybody goes crazy. He saunters his way to the ring very slowly, like heel Rock usually does, and he gets in the ring. Nothing happens, and they stare at each other and stare at each other and stare at each other for like a good 3 or 4 minutes. They they're about to go to a duel, in the Texan westerns, one of those things. They're like, and the fans are going nuts, and I get it. They're milking it. They're milking it. They're milking the
Mhm.
crowd reactions, but it gets to a point like, okay, get to it. Get to the fight or get to the promo, whatever you're gonna do,
Yeah,
and
get to it,
then
boys. We got
yeah,
time. Time's
yeah.
running out.
I know they have 3 hours, but it was getting absurd. It was like 3 or 4 minutes of them just staring at each other. Then Rocky finally whispers something in his ear, smiles, and walks off. No promo, nothing. It was just one of those like smiles and walks away. I'm
Probably
like,
saying, "You're doing a good job, kid."
Yeah.
yeah, it's like boo, hiss, whatever, because the fans are respecting a promo
Meet
from
me in the
Rocky,
back.
and
Well,
they
no
didn't get
offense,
it.
but I told my dad because there was I think it was for either SmackDown or Raw. I can't remember.
Uh huh.
But there was a commercial that came on, and I was in the bathroom getting my makeup on, and I heard The Rock's voice, and I went, "Oh, shut up, Rock! You haven't been relevant since the '90s, you idiot."
Yeah.
So my disdain for The Rock is, look, dude, your time has come and gone. The '90s are over, dude. You need to get over it. What do
Well,
you think,
Rock.
D? D?
What, say that again. You asked me.
Oh,
Yeah, he said,
um,
"What do you think?"
what do you think about The Rock doing no promo and not being relevant since the '90s?
Yeah, no. I mean, how can I say to you? I was like a Rocky Johnson fan, to be honest with you. When he
Uh,
first came on the scene, and even when he got booed, like, "Oh, kill Rocky," remember that and the whole
Die,
nonsense,
Rocky, die.
right? Yeah, I'm like, all right. So my thing is this: it's so I'm only gonna take it that because this is the first season that they do the XFL UFL thing.
Yeah.
Maybe he wanted to do a promo thing going on there, following because I think his season. I think they opened this weekend. I don't know. I just think that he is promoting every time he shows up on WWE. He's just promoting something. You know what I mean? And I do agree with you. I mean, as a wrestling fan, whatever. Like The Rock, you know, whatever.
Yeah, but But yeah, I mean, he's been, he's hanging around, and then after later on, the camera or the interviewer asked him, "What did you whisper to Cody?" And he's like, "Ask Cody." Then they go to Cody later in the night, and he's like, "I don't want to repeat it because he can't keep his promise anyways." So then get to the end of the show. They have a main event between Jey Uso and Nakamura. I think I didn't watch the match.
Knock them
It's like
over.
yeah, and the bloodline comes out and to try to hit beat up Jay. Excuse me, and then Cody Rhodes and the other guy Seth Rollins comes out. I forgot his name, and they fight off. Then Jey Uso wins, and then in the back, Cody's beating up Solo, and then The Rock hits him from behind, and that begins the beatdown. He beats the crap out of him, like quite literally. I mean, it's not literally, but but he beats the crap out of him, and he beats the crap out of him, and he beats him, and he beats him, and he beats him to the point where he's bloody. And I think they did the blood correctly because
Hmm.
if you watch the segment, which I'm not sure you watched, but let's say you watched it and you see The Rock, throwing Cody into his bus because he has
Hmm.
a bus, like it says American Nightmare on it. So he has a bus. He threw him into his bus. Cody falls, and Rocky does this with the camera, like okay, look at me,
Mm.
and he's cutting his promo while Cody is obviously bleeding. Yeah, it's obvious what he's doing. That's why the camera, and The Rock grabbed the camera. It's like then he starts cutting his promo, talking about he's the final boss and nobody can touch him and blah 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 blah. And then he goes over to Cody, and that's when he's just full of blood, and it's raining too,
Hmm.
which had it more of an effect. It's like oh
I wonder
wow.
why they were all wet. I'm like, would they stick them in a river or something?
Uh,
It was
no, it just
raining.
started raining. It was like, oh wow, that made it look even better. I thought because it reminded me one of those movies, like a John Woo movie,
Right, right,
except
yeah.
that there was no dubs around. John Woo loved his dubs in his movies. But yeah, so they did that. The beatdown, Cody or Roman, no Rock. I mean, I can't even think of names right now. Grabs Cody, grabs his blood, smears it on that belt that said Mama Rhodes, and "Yeah, I'm gonna hand you this belt at WrestleMania with your son's blood and his tears, and your tears, and because Cody is never winning that championship." And then he grabs this is before he grabs him and says, "This is why you don't fuck with the final boss." And he said fuck.
Mm.
So
They
yeah,
didn't bleep it.
they did.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah, but they muted
Don't
it,
mess
but
with the beep
this is
boss.
why you don't fuck with the final boss. And the people in shit like, whoa, like because they don't never hear cursing
Yeah.
Right.
on WWE television. So eventually the show ends and The Rock is like, it didn't have to be this way, but this is the only way. Look
Hmm.
at your son. Like he's talking to his mother. It's like, and then the camera pans down and he's busted open and just laying there dead. And after
So to
that,
speak.
he continues beating down Cody. They posted this on Twitter. Rock posted this for another 3 minutes.
Hmm.
I'm not sure you saw that video. I think I tagged one of you or both of you in it, and they were
Yeah,
like,
sorry.
and Rock was like, no, they can't. The producer was like, oh, we're off. It's like fuck that. I'm not done. The shit ain't over yet. I don't care. The show is over. Something like that. Then he starts hitting Cody with his belt twice, and it's like, oh god, it's wet too. So that must hurt even worse. I mean, I've been whipped with a belt in my younger years, and that hurt. I can imagine how Cody
Well,
felt,
I
especially
wasn't whipped
being
with a
wet.
belt. I got a bare hand, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's that.
he got whipped twice, and The Rock told him to basically fuck him. He's walking away and said fuck him. Like, so it seems like
I'm not.
they were kind of obviously pushing Rock as a heel. They're trying to do a full blown
Mhm.
heel turn, not like half
Mhm.
heel, half babyface like he was before.
Yeah, but in my opinion, no offense, Angel, but I think it's kind of like the Stone Cold thing. Like people don't want because I was listening to excuse me for just a second. I was listening to Cornette, and the thing is, they still cheer him even though are trying to the Rock concert still kind of got cheered, even though it was the shits. And
That was
but I
bad.
mean, like he sort of is like half a baby face because it's like the Stone Cold thing. They don't want to boo The Rock because The Rock is such a star. You know what I mean? And
I know.
so go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's not like I know. That's but they're trying. They're
They
trying
they
to.
definitely are trying. They definitely are trying. What I can say to this is I don't see I mean, other than getting heat, I don't see the need to tie up Cody like he's some kind of, like he's being punished like he was a small boy, and like his mom would
Uh,
punish him with a belt,
yeah,
that kind of thing. I
the
mean,
Rock
he's not
kept.
a child; he's a full
Yeah,
grown man. I mean, uh, he has a child. I think. I think he has two kids.
he has a
No, he has
wife.
a he has a daughter. I
I think
think.
it's a daughter. That's all he has.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rocky. I remember that reminded me. Rock kept saying, "Look at you now, boy. Look at you now, huh?" He kept calling him
Yeah.
boy. Like,
Yeah, it's like they're treating him like a little kid, and Cody's not a kid anymore.
thanks
Yeah.
for the happy Saturday. Appreciate it. Please
Hi,
like if you haven't.
CBC.
BX Maze. That this is you're talking about this. It's my a beer that I got. So that's why I'm chugging.
Oh,
Whoa.
you're gonna have a
Whoa.
tipsy angel,
Whoa. Whoa. I
like
think
you
I'm
were
running
for
out
my,
E. I'm
like
running
you,
Uh
out E.
huh.
like
Uh
you
huh.
were for my birthday bash for Kurt. Half
BX
Uh,
drunk.
Maze. I was pretty buzzed there too. Get the Rock out of here. Yeah, the Rock had that southern drawl when he said boy. He's like, get
yeah.
look at you now, boy. Look at you
Little
now.
a little Brahma Bull, trying
Yeah.
to do a little Brahma Bull kind of Texas kind of
Hey,
thing going
no Ric
on.
Flair stuff, X Maze. No Ric Flair stuff. We don't like Ric Flair here.
No,
But
so they in Chicago, and it's true. I go back to what Angel was saying. So you would think that in Chicago, CM Punk crowd, they'll boo The Rock. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. You think that the crowd would be like me personally? If I'm there, I will boo The Rock. But it just remember if you still have young kids there,
Yeah.
yeah.
eventually it's like the John Cena. Remember John Cena is like with
Mhm.
the kids cheering, yeah, and the adults like no.
Mhm.
I, I'm just saying
It
with,
was
with The Rock, yeah.
Yeah.
it was an interesting time, especially when Cena was at his at his prime. But yeah, I mean, obviously The Rock has having his midlife crisis. I mean, he's like 52 and
Yeah.
he's
That's
returning
how
back
I
to
would describe
wrestling.
it.
Like
Mm-hmm.
he's but yeah, overall, like I've said on Twitter, I think he's doing really well. I think even though yes, I don't want. It's like I want to hate this guy because of Maui and because of everything else he's done. He's also endorsed Joe Biden. Somebody on Twitter told me, yeah, I
Right.
know that too.
Who? Oh, who were you guys talking about? Cody or The Rock?
No,
The Rock.
Rock,
The
Oh, The
Rock.
Rocky.
Rock. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
with
like
the
Cody
whole
Rhodes
Hawaiian.
endorsed Joe Biden.
No,
What are we talking about?
No,
no,
it's
The
The
Um,
Rock.
Rock.
oh, The Rock. Well, that's because, and here's the deal. Why I don't really care for The Rock anyway. I wasn't really a big fan of The Rock in the first place, but I mean, when he came, did you guys hear about the rumors of him that he had been asked to run for president?
Yeah,
That,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep. Yep.
And I'm like, but Rock, who do you stand for? What do you
there you go.
stand for? Do you stand for
Fuck The Rock.
anything?
Yep, fuck
Yeah,
The Rock. Chris
And,
exactly.
Earth Crew. Thank
Nobody
you for
knows
that
what he
comment.
stands for. What are your
right.
policies? He just kind of said, "Well, I've been asked to run for president and I think I'll do it." Who cares if you were asked?
Oh no.
What are your policies? Why should I vote for you, Rock?
I
He
heard he
never
was
really gave
running
an
with P
answer.
Diddy. Oh no.
Yeah. Uh,
I think everybody was,
that
but
dude was the fall guy because I think
right.
that I agree with I forgot who I heard that from, but I agree that I think he's the fall guy. I think it was redacted that they're trying to cover up. They didn't raid his house to find things. Kind of like the first name Jeff, last name E. I think
Mhm.
they are trying to do a cover up because you'll never see that client list that
Mm.
P
Yeah.
Diddy had. So I just think that's a big thing. But going back to The Rock, and then it just seemed like he was like doing it for pompous reasons. The only
Mhm.
really movie I liked The Rock in was I did like Walking Tall, some of it, and then I
Yeah.
really liked The Scorpion King, but that's about it.
and then I was gonna say, Mrs. Uh, so when I was watching the Little Rock or whatever the show that was, I
Oh, Young Rock.
Young
yeah, the
Rock.
Young Rock.
Hmm.
And so I in that show they had him as like a third person, kind of running for president. So maybe
Yeah,
that was that thing that kind of stirred up that whole situation. Nah, get him out of politics. I'm sorry, get him out of
Yeah,
whatever.
we don't need, no
yeah.
offense, but I mean, we already have Jesse, but at least Jesse told the truth. He,
Right.
called balls and strikes. With The Rock, nobody knows what he
No,
stands for, what
no,
his policies would be. And
right,
like most people would say, "Oh, well, he's more Republican than he is Democrat." Well, okay, but again, what does he stand for? What are his
right.
policies? It was like do you all remember when Hogan was saying on WCW back in like 2000 that he was going to run for president? I think it was 99. But it was
Hmm.
just when Jesse Ventura had been named governor of Minnesota. And Hogan's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm running for president because if, he was making fun of Jesse Ventura. He was poking fun of
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I
that would.
remember that.
Yeah,
it."
that's what it's about.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
he
So,
was poking fun at Jesse.
and I just thought, what the heck is he talking about? President of what? What does he want to be president of? Because Hogan was ridiculous. I mean, no one would vote for Hogan. No one knows his policies. But
Yeah,
I mean, the whole thing, with The Rock is like, why would I? Why would I vote
yeah.
for The Rock? What's the reason I would vote for The Rock?
I would. And the only reason why you would vote, people vote for him because he's the Rock. He's the celebrity.
Right. He's a
His
celebrity.
his toxic masculinity that was presented in Black Adam movie showed his true colors. He's not for the people, only himself. That Black Adam movie ruined his career,
I
probably
I
in
didn't even
Hollywood.
see it, to be honest. I did not even see Black Adam.
It
Like I
probably
said, the
ruined his
only
career.
movie yeah, the only movie I really seen with The Rock was The Scorpion King, Walking Tall. Um
And that was his early stuff
That was
too.
his early movies.
Real,
Yeah,
yeah, and I
very
caught
early.
some of was it Andreas, the Andreas Faults or
Okay.
something, that movie.
yeah. San
Um
Andreas Fault. Yeah, that was pretty
yeah,
good.
San Andreas Fault. I can't believe they redid a video game. It was called
Rampage.
Rampage.
Yeah,
And they
Rampage.
stuck him in Rampage, the
Yeah,
movie. I'm like, "Don't remake stupid
right.
stuff. That was a video game I used to play in the
Yeah,
arcade."
Oh,
the
remember those
Rocky
days with
also
Rampage.
Oh,
appeared. He also appeared in the Jumanji films. He did like two or three of
Right.
those.
And
yes.
that one with all fair, it was okay, but because him and Kevin Hart got this little chemistry going on,
Yeah.
Hmm.
they
Well, I
they,
didn't
they
see
Yeah,
any of
pretty,
those movies.
yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, my thing, I guess with The Rock in the early movies is that you can tell he was hungry. Like, okay,
Mhm.
yeah,
work on my art. Somewhere when he became big, it's like, I let me just throw my name in there, and then with the hope that, well, not with the hope, because a lot of people do flock to see his movies. It's just on
Right.
the second weekend is that people be like, "Nah, I'm good, Rock." you know.
The
yeah.
thing is, like, they compared I think it was Jim Cornette compared The Rock to, like, it just seemed like the more movies The Rock did, the bigger, muscular he got.
Hmm.
Whereas, like, if the
Yeah,
more movies that Hogan did, the less muscle mass he had. And then he came
yeah,
back and he had to actually work out when he came back to WCW.
I think the
yeah.
more hair Hulk Hogan had too in the movies.
The Hogan.
Hey, but I have to say I do like Mr. Nanny. That was one of my
All
favorites.
right.
And I did like Assault on Devil's Island and Assault on Death Mountain.
Do what wasn't it's funny. 'Cause I was gonna bring this up. I could have sworn that Undertaker appeared in one of Hulk Hogan's movie, like an extra, it was like an alien
um,
movie.
I don't
Could
know.
that have been? I do like No Holds Barred too.
So it was, yeah. I mean, I seen. I was speaking about. I seen
That was
No Holds
before The
Barred.
Undertaker, though.
No, well, it was after. It was like an alien movie with Hulk Hogan, or that he came out of space, or that somebody
Oh,
from outer space was looking for him.
Space
Uh,
Mountain or something, or
Oh,
Space Outlaw or something.
let me
I don't
see.
know.
Oh crap! I know what you're talking about. I didn't see
Um,
that movie, but when I saw Mr. Nanny the first time, I was just like, "Oh, that's funny. That's so great." And just because you can't whoop these kids, you
Yeah,
can't whoop them. But the way he handles them, and then like they, uh, sort of whip him
no,
into shape at the end there. Like,
yeah,
no, we're keeping him. No,
Yeah,
Batista was bad. Batista was not good.
Oh, Suburban Commando.
Suburban Commando. That's
yes, that's the
yep,
one.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, he made a little cameo there as one of the people that's looking for Hulk
That was been about 94 ish,
or something to that
95
effect.
ish. Yeah. So I mean, the Undertaker was well established by then. I know it
Hmm.
wasn't the gentleman that I can't think of his name right now. I can see his face though, but he also played in Ghostbusters 2. Well, he plays the promoter in No Holds Barred, but he
Mm,
also played the guy that's like with the mayor in Ghostbusters 2.
mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
he plays. He
Yeah.
does some really good roles, and I do like the only thing I didn't like about Tiny Lister being I liked him in the movie, but I didn't like Tiny Lister trying to come back as a wrestler because dude couldn't wrestle. He was an actor,
Well,
for heaven's sake. But
well,
they
he
had to
had a
keep up the
yeah.
Hogan movie during the movie, so that's why they had Beefcake and they had Hogan versus Macho and Tiny
Ti-
Lister.
Well, they had to hide Tiny Lister in those 6-man tags because
Yeah, they
he couldn't
literally
work.
didn't.
So
Yeah, he didn't know how to work. So I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of like when you
it's
watch
like they're
those
doing.
matches
It's like they're doing with today, like they're doing with Jade Cargill. They're hiding her in a 6-man tag at WrestleMania.
because she
Right.
can't work.
A
Yeah,
woman, 6-woman tag. Sorry, they're hiding her in a 6-woman tag at WrestleMania with Bianca Belair and what's the other girl? Naomi in a
Hmm.
Naomi. Yeah,
6-man tag. Yeah, a
they,
6-woman tag. They're hiding her there, even
yeah,
though
but
she looks like a star. That girl looks
Oh
like
yeah.
holy
Uh,
crap. Looks like
done right. She could definitely, if done right, if she's booked right,
yeah, it booked right.
you
well then
know,
let's teach her some moves, boys.
right.
Let's get
Well, they've
her
been trying.
on the right
They spent
track.
See?
they spent 6 months at the performance center. I don't know how many
Right.
moves she learned, but clearly they're still hiding her. They don't trust her to go 1-on-one yet.
Going
How
back to
about
No
Charlotte
Holds.
Flair? Is she coming back anytime soon, or is she kind of like
Charlotte,
out?
She's
she
gonna
blew
be
out her
out.
knee. She
Yeah,
blew
she's
out her
gonna be out
knee.
for a
So,
while.
hmm
Oh man. I mean, that was if any of the women wrestlers I would trust to be with is Charlotte Flair because she was second generation.
oh
Even though
yeah,
I hate her father with a passion.
she's
But I mean,
arguably the best worker out of any girl in WWE. Her
yeah,
and
she
Rhea
was second
Ripley.
generation. That's why. So I mean, I like a lot of the second and third generation guys and girls.
Hmm
What is the other lady's name? Come on, she's Jim Neidhart's daughter.
Oh,
Natalia.
Natalia.
Natalia,
Oh
Natalia.
no,
yes.
no,
Hmm
no.
Does she even
Natalia's
wrestle?
great.
Yeah,
She comes. Yeah, she comes once
she's
in a
still
while.
there.
I mean, yeah, she's still there. Natalia. My thing with Natalia, and I always say, she's a definitely great wrestler. She puts in work. You definitely bring her in when they're doing these six tag team thing,
Hmm.
because she's the one that's gonna put some work, and she's
Okay.
gonna make people look good. Look good too. You
Yeah,
know,
Yeah,
yeah. Because
that
she's second generation. Like I said,
right?
yeah.
she knows the ropes because
She's
she grew up with it with her dad.
Yeah, she's there basically to put over younger
Yeah,
talent at this point.
We knew what you're gonna say.
It's not like she's gonna get pushed anytime soon.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, getting back to The Rock, but I wanted to read his tweet because I like even though I don't like him as a person, but his old fashioned his old school wrestling mentality is good. I hate constraints and bullshit rules, and just because WWE producer says clear, meaning we're no longer live and on the air, that doesn't mean that I stop whatever I'm doing and tell everyone great fucking job. It fucking pissed me off. I can't shut my emotions off just because the script says we're done. But even in this crazy fucking world of pro wrestling, this is a microcosm of larger issue. I have individuals, corporations, and governments telling us what we can and cannot do. Rocky sound like a politician there.
right. I was
But
about
you
to
you
can't.
say that.
endorsed Joe Biden, who
Yeah,
isn't
no.
a corporate
That's why I wanted to
tool
bring this up because I read this. I'm like, dude, you sound like a politician there. It's
Right.
like,
for rich
e-
people. I mean, come
even though
on.
even
Yeah.
though I agree with the sentiment, but still, I mean, you sound like a goddamn politician. You can't. You have to do it this way. You have to say it that way, or you'll get
You
canceled.
know what, Rock? This is why people stop trusting you. The whole thing with Oprah, and then you're like,
Hmm
oh, well, I know what it's like to have a 9 to 5 job. When was that? Huh? When did you work a 9 to 5 job
When he
without
was like,
having a famous father and
right.
grandfather, other
I
than your father was a freaking man whore?
Yeah, I don't know when he would have worked a 9 to 5 because According to his own biography, he went to the University of Miami, played in the NFL for a bit, then played in
Yeah.
the Canadian Football League, tore up his knee, he couldn't play anymore, and then he got his dad to call Pat Patterson, and that's how he got signed to WWE, and he
Yeah,
been there
because
ever
he didn't really
since.
want to be a wrestler. He wanted to be a football player. I
Yeah.
get that, but I mean,
Hmm.
don't freaking sit here and lie to us when you're third generation superstar. You literally I'm not saying that wrestlers made a ton. I'm sure Rocky Johnson didn't make a ton of money, like millions,
Yeah. No,
but I mean,
he
for
didn't.
freak's sake.
Well, my thing, like example with The Rock, right? Now, I'll give him the respect. He does put in some work. It's not like
Hmm.
he's just he does put in some work. Now, the
Well, he
only
knows the
different,
business. Yeah.
right? The only
Yeah.
thing with example, The Rock and your, how can I say, your average Joe, quote unquote average Joe, is that he does have the background of his family. So that means he could fall 3, 4 times and still get back up because he does have that surrounding.
Yeah.
Right.
Unlike people like us, if I was to become a wrestler, if I was on that wrestling move, if I fell one time, if I made one mistake one time, I'm done. I'm done
Hmm.
in the industry. But because it's The
Right.
Rock, you got that thing legacy, and I don't think
And
that
everyone
sometimes.
knows who his father and his
Right,
grandfather
right,
was.
right.
His grandmother was literally a shitty promo. And hey, if you can't take the heat, X Mays, get out of the
Yep.
kitchen. I'm not being harsh. He's being a hypocrite. He's saying, "Oh, I hate, corporate
Yeah.
greed and
But then
corporations
he's
telling me what to do." But yet
It
uh
sounds like
you literally endorse Joe Biden, who is a corporate tool. He's bought off by
right.
rich people.
yeah, he sounds like a one of these progressive politicians that say the right things, but then turn around and do exactly what their
And do
party tells them to
exactly the
do. Hmm.
opposite, and the whole thing, like I said, with Oprah was bullshit. He's a
Hmm.
multimillionaire. He's been in Hollywood for how long
He's
now?
like he's
He
like
doesn't know what it's like to be poor. I don't think he's ever been poor in his freaking life because,
he,
again, he had a famous father and
yeah.
a famous
Hmm.
grandfather.
He's like, hey, poor people, give us money for our charities so we can give
Mhm.
money to Maui. Even
And
though I'm a multimillionaire, and so is Oprah. Oprah's a
I like
billionaire, but
she's a multi-billionaire. I
yeah.
like the rebuttal. She's like, there's one girl's like, please tell me I did not just see The
Hmm.
Rock begging poor people who's a multi-millionaire for money. I was just like, yeah, bravo.
He
Standing
Right.
did.
ovation.
They create fear. Go ahead.
Mhm. No, it used
I
to
was,
be that back then that you have these kids like probably like with the Maui, you will show kids like kind of like shawed up and all that, and please help. But now you got these celebrity with money telling you to help them.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's like,
It's
Rock, you have multi-million dollars. Why don't you help them? That's why you came from Hawaii.
yeah,
Your grandfather, your grandmother, who's the shittiest, promoter in the world, but still, your
yeah.
grandfather was a wrestler and came and was in Hawaii. Your father was also Rocky Johnson, who was very famous.
Hmm.
So, I mean, you have all this you have so much ties to Hawaii, and now all of a sudden you're like begging poor people for that help.
Yeah, it's
No, dude,
ridiculous.
you're from Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii. You know why? Because I'm dirt poor. And I'm never
Yeah,
going to get to Hawaii because I'm dirt poor.
yeah. They create fear if you have a different perspective and don't live by the rules. Is their way or no way? Fuck that. I say it the way that I want to say it. I do it the way I want to do it. My choice, our choice. Fuck your clear. The final boss.
Well, if that
So
were
that
true, then leave WWE if you hate it so much because it's corporate owned. But you're on the board of directors, for fuck's sake. For
yeah,
heaven's sake, Rock,
that's the
you are
amazing
the
part.
boss.
He's I get that this is written in character, I'm sure. It's not like his written,
It
his
sounds
real
like
Dwayne
it.
Johnson, but it is in
It
his
sounds
final
like
boss
it.
character. But
Yeah.
still, I mean, I read it and it's like he's talking about how we can't let corporations and governments tell us what to do and censor us. But
And
dude,
meanwhile,
you're
you literally endorsed a guy who is for censorship and who's a corporate tool. And by the
I just
way,
think
we may get flagged for this, but I say we start cutting the heads off of rich people and people will pay attention. That's just my thing.
uh,
Sorry,
yeah,
but that's how I feel.
I mean, I get the sentiment. Um The video's on the bottom here, but I'm not going to take the chance of playing it because I don't want to get a strike on INN's channel, and it's not my channel, so I'm streaming there. If it was my channel, I wouldn't care. It's, oh, let's just play the video. It's like a minute, of Rock beating down Cody some more. But yeah, I mean, he's writing this in character clearly, but it seems like at the same time he's talking about corporations and governments, and we can't let them control us. And like, dude, you're one of the bosses of WWE now. So
Right.
So
if
you
you
are
want to
the
use
corporate.
if you want to use blood, or he wants to drop the F bomb, fuck, 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 every other word, they're gonna let him do it.
Right.
They're go- so it's not like the board of directors brought him in and made a big deal out of it. It's like, hey, the Rock's on the board now. We gave him $20 million in stock or
Plus, they
whatever it
gave him
was,
that Rock name because
and they
he
yeah.
couldn't use it before.
hmm
He was calling himself Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, he couldn't use it, but now it's like they gave him his Rocky name, The Rock. All his catchphrases are now his. Whatever
Hmm.
the People's Champion and shut know your role and shut your all that's his now legally. So they gave it to
Hmm.
him, part of his deal. So it's like he has all his catchphrases now. He can make T-shirts with that forever and make money off that,
And
and
I'm
not
not. Go ahead.
have to share the money with WWE anymore.
That's true. He's been having a silver spoon in his mouth, so to speak. And I'm not saying don't work out, during these movies and stuff and get bigger. I'm just saying, like, if you want to be in WWE, that's one thing, but if you want to be in a movie, that's another. You don't have to work out for movies. Look at Hogan; he
Movie
never worked out for movies.
Well, it depends what character you're playing, but at the same time, I'm like he's gotten bigger. I mean, you look
Right.
at his original run in the late '90s, and today it's like
Oh
he's gaining
yeah.
40 pounds of muscle.
Can
It's
you
Yeah.
like
say
hmm,
steroids? Oh,
there's vitamins.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
probably.
there's like
Rocky
When
vitamins.
Hogan says to take your vitamins and say your
Take
prayers
your
in the
Wheaties,
Right.
'90s,
eat your
mhm,
Wheaties. Isn't that what they
Right.
used to tell us?
Yeah.
yeah,
Eat your Wheaties and you'll look like The
Right.
Rock,
You know, it's
Say,
funny. They'd be like, eat your Wheaties, and then I don't even think any has Hulk Hogan ever been into the Wheatie box. You know, that's a nasty cereal, to be honest with
Now, Hogan had steroids. That was during the steroids era. See, the people who didn't do steroids, like Kurt Hennig, like Rick Rude, they just look good because they didn't do steroids.
yeah,
Unfortunately, Brett admits in his book that he did. So
yeah. Yeah, I
sorry.
mean, I think he was trying. Well, his reasoning was, well, Vince likes bodies, so let
Yeah,
me
Vince likes
juice up a
bodies,
little bit and look
and yeah,
bigger, so he'll
he
push
wanted to
me.
look a little bigger because he
Yeah.
kind of didn't get to the point where he won in Stampede. So
hmm
yeah.
Yeah. So again, I don't. When it comes to juicing and wrestling, it's like it's not an athletic competition. So if you want to juice, I don't really care. I mean, like you're cheating. It's pro wrestling. It's like predetermined.
Oh, but there was a whole big trial about that. I
Oh, I know
mean, Vince
the
McMahon got in a lot of
trial.
trouble because of
Yeah,
that.
yeah. The trial was because Vince was distributing steroids to his wrestler, not because they were actually using. Like he was basically pushing steroids onto his wrestlers.
Yeah, and
Not be,
what difference does it make? It's not like it's a no offense. It is kind of a sport, but it isn't. It's all choreographed. It's
yeah.
all, you know, but we didn't know that at the time.
Uh huh.
We just thought, but the other thing is that, and Angel, I had shared the interview with Kurt. I agree with him. These guys come in and they're all jacked up and stuff, and there's only one way to go with the body once you're all jacked up like that, and that's down with the body. So your body will
Yeah.
break down over time because you're all
That's
jacked
what
up.
I think it was Scott Hall who said this. He said this to I forget who it was right now, but he told this wrestler, "Don't make your body your gimmick, because you
Right.
will lose your body eventually."
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, I forget
you. Yeah,
who.
my
I think it
issue.
might
Yeah,
have been
sorry.
Lex Luger. Might have been Lex Luger or somebody. Some wrestler
Well,
who.
Luger was a bodybuilder. That's the
Yeah,
problem. He was
yeah.
not a very good wrestler.
I think it probably was Luger. I remember correctly. He said that too.
Yeah, my thing with the steroids. I mean, unfortunately, and I remember there was this football player in the NFL, Lyle Alzado, who
hmm
also, he took steroids, but then he died, and then he blamed it on steroids. But my understanding is that no, it was not really steroids, something else. And I think that's the only thing with the steroids or any performance enhanced drugs is that if a wrestler died at 45, 50, they all blame it something on, like for example with the Chris Benoit thing, with the Roy Rage.
CTE.
You know what I mean? Everything
Oh,
is that.
Yeah,
allegedly.
Right,
that
right.
was. I suspect that was CTE more than
Yeah,
anything.
right. So
Allegedly.
Yeah,
I,
that
I,
was
I
because Benoit was a giant of a man. I mean, even he do. It's obvious that he took his vitamins too. You know, what I mean, it's like,
right, right.
god damn. I mean,
He ate his Wheaties.
Right.
yeah, yeah. It's obvious he took vitamins too. So it's obvious that have you seen AJ Styles on Raw recently? He's like this. I mean, it's like he's taking his vitamins too.
Yeah, yeah.
There was something, wasn't there something with him and a fan, or was it a fan or something? Like
Um, I don't
like
know.
he got out, started yelling at a fan because a fan had jumped the barricade. Did you guys see this on X? I
No,
saw something about it, but I
Mm-mm.
was just like, that could have been just another wrestler, an up and coming wrestler or something.
Mm.
yeah, I don't know about that, but I wouldn't be surprised because he's kind of, he's kind of like an old school type of worker. He's been around for over 20 years, so he started in the early 2000s in wrestling. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, he's AJ Styles is a giant. Now he's like then I'm like, what did he do? Because the bloodline took him out. He was out for months, and then he came back, and he was like, what the hell? And then now he's wrestling LA Knight at WrestleMania. So we got to do a WrestleMania preview and just, but yeah, he's
Oh,
wrestling LA
yeah.
Knight, and I'm like, why? It seemed kind of random. It's like, oh, we got nothing for AJ Styles, so okay, let's stick him with LA Knight. That's what it seems like, and like for no
Well, and
reason.
LA Knight is starting to become popular. Yes,
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he
I
yeah,
think
been
Jim Cornette was talking about that.
yeah,
That he
he's
he's
was
been
gotten
starting to
over for
over.
a
become.
while.
He
Oh
he
Yeah,
had
he's
a
gotten over
match.
now.
He had a match with Roman Reigns. He basically earned
hmm
the right to get beat by Roman Reigns. That's
right.
basically what it was. He
Oh,
got
happy
Yes.
day.
yeah. He earned the right to get beat by Roman Reigns at
And I
Saudi Arabia.
and
Mhm.
I remember that match because I was watching it live. It was early in the morning or whatever. No,
It was
no, I wasn't.
afternoon. It was
Yeah, I wasn't
afternoon
watching it live. I think I watched it like after it
the next
finished, I
day.
believe.
Uh huh. Hmm.
So in all I remember, I kept on thinking when LA Knight lost, all I kept on thinking is was Bray Wyatt when he lost to Cena. It's like that's how you, because
Hmm.
LA Knight, it's over. I mean, he's still over, but
Yeah.
that kind of like deeped him a little bit. And I'm like, oh, that's the same thing with Bray Wyatt. When Bray Wyatt was over, you put John Cena beats him,
Hmm.
and then come to him
What
from
I
there.
Well, and I'm very sorry for what happened because Bray Wyatt, that was kind of like a sudden.
Hmm.
And I didn't know Bray Wyatt was the son of Mike Rotunda until
Oh
they
yeah.
actually said that. I was
yeah
like, oh my god, I know who Mike Rotunda is,
Oh yeah.
yeah
and I know who Barry
hmm
Windham is, his uncle.
yeah
He,
Um,
he got two kids in the
yeah, I
wrestling.
mean, yeah, he
he
had 2 girls, didn't he?
yeah
And that
yeah
was so sudden. I was just like, "Oh my gosh, that's awful.
yeah
That's so
and
awful."
And it is shocking to see a wrestler from this era, from the modern era, die young. Usually, they don't run as hard or they don't do the drugs that the guys we grew up watching did. So you expected it from those guys, but you
And
don't
second
expect it from,
generation. He
yeah,
was
he's
second
second
generation.
generation. Yeah.
Oh, it was
So,
awful.
yeah.
I felt so awful for his fiance and his girls.
Yeah, apparently WWE is paying Bray Wyatt's salary to the family until his contract's up, which is nice of him to
Oh,
do.
yeah, that's really nice. That's one thing I will give credit to the WWE. Good on you that you did that because,
Yeah.
I mean, that boy, I don't know if was he over?
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
watch his career, but
Yeah.
I mean, if he was over, good for him because
Oh,
his dad was sort
Mm.
of over as IRS. I
Yeah.
mean, he got a lot of heat. Trust me.
Yeah,
He's
he
like,
did.
pay your taxes. I'm like, I do. Do
yeah.
you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
nobody wants to pay your taxes.
yeah, Mike Rotunda. I mean, so he was what? And so Mike Rotunda, when he was in the '80s, I think he came with that wrestling thing. With the, I think he went to Syracuse or something like that. He had that little gimmick that this guy had from the Steiners, Rick
Captain Mike
Steiner.
Rotunda. Captain Mike
Yeah,
Rotunda. He was
yeah,
in
yes,
Okay.
WCW in the early
yeah.
Okay.
90s.
Because he was tag team with his brother-in-law, Barry Windham, in Florida, I believe. I think Dusty brought them in because
Yeah,
they
and
wanted to
then
work together and they just kind of
he
had to leave or they had to stop being tag
Mike
teams.
Mike Rotunda's going to Hall of Fame with his tag team partner. I forget who it is. What would they
Ted DiBiase?
No, who the fuck is he going to Hall of
No,
Fame with?
it
He
was
was a tag team in the
in the
WWF.
yeah, in the mid '80s. I remember. You
Yeah,
remember?
they had a run. I
Oh, I
forget.
don't know.
Yeah, he
Run.
had that. I'm telling you, he will come in that wrestling thing like a real regular wrestling with an S. I think he
Wasn't
went to
Barry Windham, because
Syracuse.
Barry Windham talks about that. They were in the WWF in the early 80s, but I don't remember what they were called, but they were a tag team because Mike was so upset about a payoff that he actually left. Like he literally went home, and Barry did too, because him and Barry are like best friends because
Yeah,
he married Barry's sister.
yeah.
And Barry Windham was just talking about this on titlematch.com where it was an interview they did
Ah,
in 2002.
it's
So
the
it must
U.S.
have been Barry.
Express.
Yeah, the US Express. But that the reason why it didn't
Yeah,
last very long is because
Barry
literally they
Windham.
were, yeah, they were pissed
They're
off
going to
about
Hall of Fame together.
oh, that's good. I'm
It's the
glad.
U.S. Express. Yeah.
Yeah, and Barry talks about that. He
Hmm.
says the reason why that didn't go over very well is because Vince, and it was about payoff, you know. So what happened was Mike went home and Barry went home too, unplugged his phone, didn't want to talk to anybody. The thing is, Mike Rotunda's wife talked him back into wrestling, so he went back to wrestling, and Barry kind of was SOL.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Mike Mike Rotunda was a talent. He was good. The problem is his most over gimmick was IRS.
IRS, that's right.
Yeah.
Because
The
people
WC
hated that guy.
yeah. WCW tried him as Captain Mike Rotunda, and they tried to put him in a tag team. I mean, he's a good hand. He could work, but he
Right.
just couldn't find a gimmick. The IRS gimmick was the most over he ever would be. And then
Yeah, even
WC when he
Wall
went
Street
back to
didn't work.
WCW, he tried to be Wall Street. Basically the
Yeah,
same gimmick, but it didn't really work. So
didn't really work. He
Yeah.
didn't really get
mm,
over.
yeah.
Basically, the thing with Bray Wyatt. So Bray Wyatt is it's a he was what he. I wish the booking on WWE was better. I mean, I hate the fact that he lost to Undertaker to in WrestleMania. I mean, it's like when he
Oh,
gets over,
Under-
he gets squashed, and then he lose momentum, and then I don't know.
Undertaker. Undertaker said recently that he thought Bray Wyatt should have broken his streak if
I say
anybody
so.
would have done it.
I'll say
It's
so.
kind of like the same thing they did with Joe Hennig. You know, they had him as
Mm-hmm.
Michael McGillicuddy, and he was getting over, and then they brought him in as Curtis Axel, and then it just seemed like he was going
Michael,
nowhere, and then
Mc, that was
they
an
cut him
awful
out.
name. Michael McGillicuddy was a terrible name, and he looked just like his dad. I'm like, why
Yeah, he
not name
does.
him? Why not just
He
say he?
really does.
I'm not saying he should be Mr. Perfect, but why not just
Right,
say,
Mr. Perfect
he's Mr.
Junior, maybe, I
Perfect's
don't know.
son? I don't know. I
right.
mean, he's Kurt Hennig's son. Promote that fact, and and get him over that way. Because I don't. He didn't have the it factor that his dad had. If you understand what I'm saying, like his dad had something, that it, whatever that is, that it factor. He had it, and
He had it, but I think
Michael just
also
his son didn't have it. He was good in the ring, but it's like, it's like I
but
want
I
to like
think
this guy, but
if Kurt had lived and he sorta had matches with him
mm-hmm.
like Larry and Kurt had when Kurt was in Portland, and then,
Yeah,
of course, in
okay,
AWA.
mm-hmm.
I think that he would have had that something, and he probably would have
Maybe.
outdone his father just like Kurt did. So I think, I really think Joe kind of missed out. But I still don't like the way they treated him. They kind of treated him like,
Oh no, they
oh, you're
treated
the
him
son of Kurt
like
Hennig.
Right,
Well, if you're not
right.
Kurt, well, then get out of here.
well,
Well, Kurt's not
they
around.
yeah, Vince tried to push him. He was Curtis Axel, and then they put him with Paul Heyman. He won the Intercontinental title, and I'm like, eh,
At
but it's
least he
just
didn't
not
have to go
working.
to AEW. Ugh.
Eh.
Could you imagine
And
what they
then,
would do with him?
Oh God.
oh yeah, what?
Poor Joe. I was like, please don't go to AEW. Please
Yeah, he
don't go to
would. They
AEW.
probably would have tried to have him do the perfect plex from the third rope.
See, I would love to
So
learn how to do that. I
Oh yeah, they
would
would.
love I would love to learn how to do that perfect plex.
Yeah, I mean
And his
he.
running snapmare that he would do. Oh, that looks like fun. I was
Yeah, I
like, go ahead,
mean
Angel.
taking that. I mean, yeah. Unfortunately, it just didn't work. And what? And getting back to LA Knight, what I would have done with him and Roman Reigns was an old Dusty finish. Would I be? I did, and I
Mm.
told this with my. I told my mother this because she loves LA Knight, and it's like, why?
Mhm.
And he's gonna get beat by Roman Reigns. Like, no, he's not.
Mm.
He's gonna get beat. There's no way gonna take the belt off Roman. He got beat. And but I told my mother, is like, oh, why not just have LA Knight hit his finish for Roman Reigns, have Roman Reigns foot under the rope, have LA Knight pin him 1, 2, 3, get that moment, and then they come back to general managers the next night on Raw, like, oh yeah, you actually didn't win because his foot under the
Mm.
rope. You gotta get
Kind
Roman
of
back
like
the
they did
belt.
with Kurt, yeah, like
Yeah.
controversial finishes, yeah.
Yeah, so LA Knight pins Roman Reigns, but ultimately doesn't it's not he's not the champion, so you don't break
Mm.
Roman's, streak either. So
Mhm.
both things you accomplish two
Okay.
things at the same time. So you accomplish putting LA Knight over Roman Reigns, but at the same time, not officially because he's not the champion. So I
Well,
don't know.
as
That's what I
you
would have done. But
Yeah, well,
mm,
and that what's is what makes you a good, like, promoter idea writer.
mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, WWE lacks that, so, they're just going to do things the retarded way, and
Yeah,
this
I
is
don't.
not a drawback on WWE, it's just WWE has done shitty stuff lately, and it's just it's hard to get into or get excited about when it's like, okay, you got Roman Reigns, he's over, he's been champion now for fucking ever,
Three and a
for
half,
like
almost 4 years.
eternity.
Yeah,
And, it's time to let bygones be bygones. Somebody's got to take down Roman Reigns because people are starting to get fucking tired of this shit. They're
yeah.
tired of Roman Reigns. They're tired of the bullshit. Let's go, boys. You didn't have you. I've never heard of a storyline this long where someone's been champion for 4 years. I mean, except for
Well,
that they're trying to do the whole Hogan thing. Look,
yeah.
Roman Reigns is
Hogan,
not Hogan, and this ain't the
Hogan had
'80s
that.
no more.
Hogan had that 4 year title run in the '80s, but
Right.
But this is not the '80s anymore.
no, it's not. And
Mm.
I mean, I'm surprised Roman's lasted this long, and I'm surprised the Bloodline storyline has lasted this long, and apparently it's
Right.
going to continue because Rocky's
Yeah.
around, and
Yep.
and there's that melodrama with Rock and Roman, and
The
there's
Hardy Boys suck.
and the
Sorry.
Hardy Boys are
Hardy
not.
Boys suck. Listen,
Uh,
if you are a tag team that needs to have like tables, ladders, and chairs matches, and you make those matches popular, which they weren't fucking popular to begin with,
they
um,
ruined. Yeah,
yeah,
they ruined those table ladders and chair matches.
I
Kind
have
of
no respect
ruined.
for people like that.
Yeah,
Back in our day, in the '80s and '90s, rarely were there chair shots or even chairs involved.
no. And I remember it was it Hogan. Hogan tried to hit in WCW. Tried to hit somebody with a chair and looked like shit. He just did, he like
Oh, yeah,
placed
yeah,
the chair. Who was
the
it?
Giant. He was the
Yes,
Giant.
he tried. Okay, he tried to hit somebody with a chair. Looked like shit. I'm like, yeah, Hogan's never worked with a chair before. You could tell. I mean, it looked like
Yeah, I
garbage.
mean, we thought it was garbage when they started doing it at the end of WCW before the WCW thing came in.
Yeah, it's just those table ladders
Before they
and
were
chair
bought off
matches.
or bought out.
Yeah, they were. To be as a teenager, I enjoyed those matches, but at the same time, looking back, is like those
I mean,
fucking
that's why
matches.
I didn't like W or ECW because
Yeah,
I just didn't want to see that shit. I people who wrestled didn't have to wrestle in thumbtacks and barbed wire and have the ring blow up.
yeah, those fucking matches led to what AEW is today. Because I guarantee
Yeah.
you, the Omegas and the Bucks, especially, were inspired by those matches. So that's what wrestling has turned into today. Those matches led into that. And
And
like,
that's why I said on X there was a thing about, somebody showed up on Twitch on Omega's Twitch stream.
I
And I said,
have
"You
that.
know what? I don't fucking care. Just stay on Twitch, Omega, because that's the only
Talking about
fucking thing you're
Omega,
good on."
I'm glad you reminded me.
Okay,
Omega
go
was
for it.
on his stream
Yeah.
again, and he's running his mouth about how he because he's responding to people saying he's a bad promo, which he is a bad promo, by the way. He
He's
sounds
also
like
the shits when it comes to
yeah,
wrestling. That's what I said. I said your wrestling is also the shits.
yeah. He was responding to people saying he was a bad promo, which he was. I don't know if it actually saved it or not. I hope I did.
Yeah, that's what I was
Shit.
responding to. I responded to he
Shit,
goes,
I didn't
"Oh, I'm
save
not a
it.
shitty promo." Well,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you are. You're a shitty promo and your wrestling is the shit. So, I would if I were you, I would stay on Twitch because that's the only thing you're really good at. For
Uh
heaven's sake. Fuck you, Omega.
oh, here he is. Yeah, I'm gonna. I want to see because he's complaining, and I was like, let's see.
By the way, hi driving me, Macy.
Oh yeah, hi. I mean, thank you for joining us. Make sure you like if you haven't already, everybody, if you're on the stream. But let's see.
And I'm gonna be brutal, guys. I'm not going to seriously sit here and just go,
Oh,
"Oh well, maybe Omega will be a star someday." No, fuck him.
yeah, it says Kenny Omega responded to people who thinks he sucks at promos. So I'm gonna actually play this clip because he's hilarious. It's grainy as all hell too.
Everyone's
It's grainy as all hell. You see how grainy this is? What is
Yeah,
this?
what was this taken back in the 2000s? Jesus
Yeah, it looks like
Christ.
shit. But yeah, I'm gonna let him talk though.
everyone's wondering, Kenny, why is Kenny so bad at promos? He doesn't a promo game.
Good question.
I don't know why he doesn't. What do you mean in the ring? What do you mean got a promo? That's all I care about. God,
Shut the fuck.
sakes!
How about you shut the
Jesus
fuck
Christ!
He won't do it again.
Jesus Christ, man!
up? Jesus
Who's the
Christ,
Japanese
man.
girl next to him? A Japanese
Hey,
girl. Who is it?
is that your little pedophile wife, bitch?
Yeah, it's like I'm not surprised. I
Little
wouldn't be surprised he
pedophile?
married a Japanese girl. But it's a Japanese girl next to him, awkwardly standing there.
I talk about a guy who sold out
Sitting there.
45,000 seaters with my storytelling. You're trying to tell me I don't know how to tell
No, no, no. Fuck you. You don't do
No,
storytelling.
you don't do well, you do bullshit matches with John Moxley, excuse me, and have the ring blow up. Well, what fucking
No.
story are you telling other than the fucking ring blows up?
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
stories. They don't have a yelling promo place.
No, you don't. And you
Yeah.
also have everything written down for you, you fucking retard. Go
He's
back
a
to the
good
me,
fucking
and then you can-
80s when they literally came up with their promos off the top of their
Uh-huh.
fucking heads. Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, please keep going. I mean, shit. I mean, I hate Omega
You're
too.
gonna say,
but-
"Oh yeah, the Rock sold more."
Yes, The Rock did sell more.
He did. It's the
Yeah,
damn
he
Rock.
did.
But you know what? I'm not fucking bad myself. When
No, you are bad.
No, you
Yeah,
are
well,
bad.
Omega's a douche.
When you can fucking sell out a fucking arena like they did back in the 80s and 90s in the fucking territories, then
Ooh.
fucking come back and talk to me.
Yes.
But you are a
Ooh,
fucking
okay,
asshole.
let's get it.
Yeah,
Let's
Omega
get
like
it.
he
Let's
said.
get it. Let's
He
go.
said he sold out a stadium with 45,000
Let's
seaters.
go.
When?
He's referring
When?
to
Name
he's
the
re-
fucking time you
No,
sold
but-
out.
No,
What?
but my thing with Japan, you could have wrestlers just not move and they still sold out. I mean,
Right,
Japan
everybody can fucking wrestle in
Yeah.
Japan. That's the point. And you
Yes.
get more lucrative deals over there because they do more house shows than they do TV. Fucking
Yeah.
Kurt could make it in Japan because literally he followed the Japanese style of wrestling. And yeah, Hogan was a star in Japan. Oh,
Mhm.
whoopee doo. So you can wrestle in Japan. Yeah, you can wrestle 9-year-old girls because you're a fucking pedophile. Because none
Yeah,
of the wrestlers I know of would do that.
Yeah, Omega
Sorry.
was referring to Tokyo Dome. He sold out Tokyo Dome, 40,000 seats multiple times, and I'm like, yeah, the Japanese would goes to any Tokyo Dome show. It's called Wrestle Kingdom. They go every year. You know, it's like they're WrestleMania. I mean, they sell out that show all the time. The Tokyo Dome is a huge deal.
They were just talking to Scott Norton. For heaven's sake, Scott
Mm-hmm.
Norton, he pretty much had a career in Japan. The
Mhm.
only reason why he came back to the States was because he just wanted to be closer to his family.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
not
I'm having
talking
like a
shit. I'm
little.
talking reality. I'm talking
yeah.
facts. These
I'm
are
talking-
fucking facts.
I'm having little technical difficulties here, but I'm listening.
That's fine.
I'm like, Jesus.
That's
If
fine.
you
Come
have
on.
to reboot.
I see. I was like, yo.
Yeah,
but-
he's rebooted.
Hey, if you're
I'm
having
getting
computer,
hyped.
the best advice I can give you as a computer technician is to reboot.
No, but I'm having a lot of fun. It's like, yo, I'm like getting a little hype. Like,
Yeah.
It is true. I mean, look, my thing with wrestlers, in even before Omega, like we had a lot of wrestlers that made a killing over there in Japan. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you the shit. Like, come on.
No.
dude.
No, his
Not in the
wrestling is
US.
the shits.
I mean,
Not
And
in the
he
US.
had everything written down for him, handed to him on a silver
Right.
platter. The wrestlers I grew up with literally would cut promos. That's why they would kind of look around because they're trying to remember, oh, I have to say this. I have to tell him this. I have to kind of, put my opponent down. I have to, get him over a little bit, but I
Right.
also have to run him into the ground because that's what you fucking did. They didn't
Right.
have stuff written down. They
Yeah.
actually had to come up with promos off the top of their fucking heads. And he acts
Mhm.
like, oh, well, I'm the greatest wrestler ever. No, you are the shit.
Mhm.
Because you
Well,
have everything written down. All you
well,
have to do is
fucking,
fucking remember lines. A fucking gorilla can do that.
fucking Dave Meltzer convinced him he's the greatest wrestler of all time. That's
That's
why.
because David Meltzer
Right.
sucks his dick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only reason why he's convinced that he's the greatest. He's the greatest wrestler today because of Meltzer, because
Yeah,
he's
and
got
gave
some
him
more.
5 stars for no
He get
fucking
yeah.
reason.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, the real wrestlers like Bret Hart, Kurt Hennig, not the Rock, but I mean Austin,
You know what I just noticed?
the
I
second
didn't.
generation and third generation guys. Those are the guys. Ask people who saw the Bret Hart Kurt Hennig match in SummerSlam '91. They will fucking tell you that match was 5 stars, and Kurt
Yeah,
was hurt. His
yeah.
back was bothering him.
That's what's amazing about that match. I mean, I didn't until years later. I didn't know that Kurt's back was fucked until like 10 years ago. Like, wow, and he delivered that match for Brett. I mean,
He gave that
respect.
match
Mm, yeah,
120% for Bret Hart and for the fans because Kurt
yeah,
was
mm,
a top
mm,
superstar and literally the greatest man in the world.
yeah.
I
Ooh,
mean,
I
rest in
wanted
peace.
to.
the wrestlers today would literally not even get in the ring and oh my back hurts. Fuck
Oh,
you.
Randy Orton missed a year and a half of his career because of his bad back, and I'm like
Right.
okay.
And he's
I
third
mean,
generation. He should know better.
yeah. I wanted to bring all I know about wrestling is the early 90s. I was invited to Memphis Wrestling Channel 3 to be in the audience as a Cub Scout. They showed me behind the scenes.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
a
know
good that's
Memphis actually went into the 90s. When did they go out as a
uh
territory?
I know Lawler ran Memphis until the mid 90s because I
Okay.
remember
Yeah.
The Rock was there as Flex Cavana.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
So that's why I know Lawler ran into at least the mid 90s. I'm not sure how much longer it lasted after that, but
Okay. I was gonna say because Lawler does go to WWE, so in '93.
yeah, so I know he ran Memphis into like the mid 90s. It was like a developmental territory by that point. And WWE Vince would send guys to Lawler Memphis in order to get experience, which is where Rocky went, for like a couple of years. He
Yeah.
was Flex Tivana, that gimmick he had.
Well, see, here's the problem though with people like Kenny Omega. If someone like me would get up in Omega's face and say, "Look, you fucker, try." You couldn't even lace up Kurt Hennig's boots. You couldn't lace up Bret Hart's boots. You couldn't lace up fucking Shawn Michaels' boots. And I hated Shawn Michaels with a fucking passion.
Oh, it's the
You
What
couldn't
happened?
lace
Oh,
up
USW.
come
any of
on.
these boots. I'm
Come
sorry.
on.
I'm sorry, D.
But I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it.
It was USWA. Okay, yeah, old man Barker was right. It's the USWA Rocky worked at in Memphis. Though I was in Memphis with Lawler. I know Lawler was still
Yeah,
promoting
because
in Memphis.
when they were in Memphis, Rocky said, "Oh, I've come home." You know.
Yeah, that was on
Yeah,
SmackDown.
yeah, old man Barker, twinkle toes, make fuck finger bang.
Twinkle Toes
I'm gonna tell
or
him about himself on X every chance I fucking get. If that little fucking snowflake tries to come back with, "Well, I was a wrestler in the '80s and '90s," I don't fucking care.
no,
But you don't add anything to the fucking show, you idiot. Sorry.
Omega is just. I'm like, never understood the hype with him, and it's like he national television exposed him just like it did with the Bucks and most of Elite, except for Cody, because Cody's part of the Elite too. People forget. People don't want to admit say that part.
he
Cody left. But
right, but he was also second generation, and he had learned from Dusty
yeah,
and Dustin, his brother.
he was the only one that was good out of the Elite. The Hangnail and Olivier and the Bucks, they all sucked. But he was the only one that was like good, and I'm like, what the fuck's he doing with these morons? I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
they couldn't lace up his boots either.
Yeah,
Cody deserves to be in WWE. He deserves to
yeah,
be the champion because he literally is second generation. Now I
yeah.
know
He
they
does.
did this for Brett because Brett was also second generation. They could have done it for Kurt too.
Vince. Well, Vince, when he brought back Cody, he wanted to put the belt on him eventually. It's like that's why he brought him back because he thought him as his top babyface, and he's right. I mean, he's over. But he needs to get this fucking belt at WrestleMania. They cannot let it go another year because
I
he's gonna be
agree, but
dead.
I was just showing you what that
And I
thing
know
says because they have a different plan for him. What different plan are you talking about? Enough with the Chase boys. We're done with that.
Yeah, it's
It's
been 2
getting boring
years. The
now.
chase is enough, he needs to get that belt. Even if he drops it in 6 months, I don't care, but at least you establish that Cody's your top babyface and you put the belt on him.
Yeah, they were great. Second generation and third generations knew what the hell they were fucking doing. And
No.
it just it pisses me off that they literally couldn't they let Brett have the belt but they wouldn't let Kurt have it. Why? What was the difference?
Mm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that, I
Kurt and
mean,
Brett were the same.
and then with Kurt and I remember DiBiase, remember Jake.
Oh boy, cracking up a lot.
Yeah, we're losing you, D, but
Oh no.
but Reed and David. Yeah, Reed and David both sucked. Reed and David
Reed
Flair.
who?
Reed, I think
David
Reed
Flair?
Flair. Reed and Flair, they were both Flairs. I know that.
You mean Reese? His son Reese? Babyface territory. I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, David Flair was the shits.
Oh yeah,
His
and
dad really didn't help him.
no, Rick was like, I think Rick was afraid. I don't know why he was afraid that David would be better than him, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
If
he's
it
your
didn't
son.
benefit Ric Flair, it didn't
Yeah,
happen. Yeah.
yeah,
That's why he sort of uh, you know, X'd what Kurt was trying to do. Yeah,
yeah.
well,
Rick Flair's
it's
kid.
Reese, not Reed. His name is
Have
Reese.
a son named Reed.
I know he
I'm
has two sons. Okay, you're back.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna, yeah, and I was saying that so with Kurt, so I remember Kurt, Ted DiBiase, and was it Jake the Snake? People
Yeah.
that didn't carry a belt during that time. That doesn't mean that they were not important, but it's funny how they got over without belts more than a lot of people now get over with belts.
yeah. Well, I know that Ted DiBiase was supposed to win the WWF Championship at WrestleMania 4,
He
but
technically did have it for like what a couple of a
yeah,
day until they stripped him of it, and it's because
yeah, that's
I was just
Andre. That
rewatching
whole
this
angle.
that yeah, the Giant had won from
Hmm.
Hogan at WrestleMania 4, and he handed it right over to Ted DiBiase, and
That was the
they
main
said they
event.
couldn't do that. Yeah, that was illegal. You couldn't do that.
That
So
was the main event. That wasn't
Right.
WrestleMania 4.
yeah, so they tried that, but
Hmm.
people wouldn't have understood why he was, champion. But Jake the Snake had a lot of problems, a lot of personal problems. That's
Mm,
probably why Vince didn't make him champ. But
right.
Kurt didn't. Kurt didn't have those problems.
No, Jake, not Jake,
No,
Ted
not Kurt
DiBiase.
Angle. Fuck that guy. I hate Kurt Angle. Kurt Hennig.
Ted DiBiase is supposed to win the WWF title at WrestleMania 4, but Honky
Yeah.
Tonk Man wouldn't drop the Intercontinental title to Randy Savage, which is why Vince said to placate Savage, he had him win the world title instead.
Interesting.
Which is a
Mm.
story that
I
I
never heard
heard
that.
from DiBiase. I think it was he did a shoot interview, which he's
Hmm.
supposed to win the WWF title, and then
Yeah.
eventually Hogan would beat him for the title, and he would have a run. But
Yeah, I heard something like that with
Mhm.
Honky, even though
Honky
they,
refused to drop the Intercontinental to Savage.
yeah, yeah,
But
I
he
heard
dropped it to the
something.
Warrior.
I mean, but Warrior,
Well, well, that was a year later, I think, remember correctly,
right,
and
right,
and
right.
Vince paid him off a shit ton of money to drop it to Warrior. So
Wow.
Okay.
it's like, oh, once you drop it to Warrior, no, it's like I pay you money, a bunch of money. It's like okay,
I,
that's the only
I,
reason why he dropped it to Warrior.
Wow.
unless Vince was trying to get Jerry Lawler, via Honky Tonk Man.
I
I
think
don't
Honky,
know. I don't think so.
I think Honky left after he dropped the Intercontinental.
No, he
Hangman
was still
just jumping
wrestling. He was
in. I guess. Well, thank you, Sage. I know I'm watching the game right now, so on my cell phone. But
no, Honky
go ahead.
did he did wrestle
with the tag
in
team.
'88 and '80. Yeah, he was with the Greg the Hammer
Yeah,
Valentine.
the tag team.
Yeah, and then
Okay,
they
Yeah,
I
would
thought
break
he
him up.
left.
Yeah.
That's why
yeah,
I
Oh
because
thought he
no.
left right
Greg
after.
did the whole honky tonk man thing
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yes. He
Yeah,
was
he was called
Yeah, I
Boxcar.
remember that.
Rhythm and Blues,
Was
right? That was a tag
Rhythm and
team name.
Blues. That
Yep.
would be
was it?
'90s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I believe wasn't I think that was it a WrestleMania that I think DDP was the driver. I think there was a trivia there when Honky Tonk Man and Greg Valentine. I believe that the DDP did a WWE cameo as a driver.
Might
Uh,
have, but
he
I don't
might
Yeah,
have.
know.
Yeah, I
I know that
remember
they
yeah,
came
hearing.
in. Yeah, I
right.
think that was
I think it
that
was
it,
'89.
sorry. Um,
So,
Mania.
wow.
WrestleMania 5,
Didn't-
they were a tag team and they were with they were against the Hart Foundation, but that was before Greg had the black hair because Vince kind of said, and he did this to Barry Windham too. They're like, "You're the new Blackjacks now. Go dye your hair black. We have to have your hair
Yes.
black because
Him
their
and
hair was blonde."
Bradshaw. Him and
Yes,
Bradshaw were a new black
had
the new
blonde
Black
hair,
Jacks.
and they made Barry Windham and Bradshaw get their hair dyed.
Wow.
So it's kind of
and
like
that
that. That's what
and
they did to Greg Valentine.
and
Yeah,
that
they made
gimmick
him dye his hair.
they lasted like 6 weeks before Vince gave up on it. Or
Yeah,
Right.
something like that. It didn't last long, that tag team.
yeah.
No,
Wait, are you talking about Rhythm and Blues, or are you talking about
no,
The
rhythm and
black
Blackjacks?
blues.
Blackjacks.
Yeah, the Blackjacks. Yeah, that
It
Yeah,
didn't
didn't
last
last
very
long.
not that
long.
long.
Yeah.
No.
That's the thing with Vince. He would fuck around with you, like, "Oh yeah, do this, pal. Shave your head bald. We're gonna use
Right.
you." 6 weeks later, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're gonna get rid of you." It's like I shaved my fucking head for you. It's like, he did
And
it
you
to
um.
some other wrestlers.
and
It's
you
like
know
he
with
fucked
Vince
around with
too.
their careers.
So Vince
Mhm.
always had this thing. So they were cowboys, these tag team, and then he'd be like, ah, it
Yeah,
didn't work out. Then he'll
Yeah,
grab
drove the
that.
Cadillac. Okay.
Right, right. They'll have that same gimmick, and then what? He
I
gave it
don't
to the
remember that.
Guns.
I'm gonna look for that now,
Yeah,
though.
yeah. Bart and Billy Gunn. He gave it to the cowboy kind of gimmick
Yeah,
in
the
a
gun,
way.
Smoking
the
guns.
Gun
The
Brothers.
smoking
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's
guns.
right.
Smoking
The,
Gun
the
Brothers.
smoking guns. Yeah. I mean, that's Vince in a nutshell. Ah, it didn't work out. Let me just give it to this guy right here.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
what's funny is they were actually talking, and I know this because I've seen several. I saw the Life and Times of Mr. Perfect, and then I also saw, other behind the scenes about Kurt Hennig. He actually wanted to have a cowboy gimmick because he liked country
Right.
music, but
Oh, yes,
Vince
yes.
kind of
Hmm.
like rolled his eyes and like, oh come on, we got enough cowboy gimmicks. But that was Kurt. I mean, Kurt could make it work,
Yeah.
but I mean, he had a Mr. Perfect gimmick, but he never complained about it.
Busy.
Well,
I saw that cowboy video, the one that you was talking about in
uh-huh.
WCW.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I,
West Texas Rednecks.
The West
right, I
Texas
saw that.
Rednecks. Yeah.
Right, so
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest. So I do recall that. I do, and I'm with you. Kurt would have been a great cowboy because that had me
Yeah.
fooled. I forgot that he was Mr. Perfect. I'm like, what the? He got the accent and all that, and he from Minnesota and shit. I'm like,
He's from
Yeah.
what
Minnesota. But
Uh-huh.
I mean, he loved country music. And like I said, I've seen so many documentaries about Kurt that he
the?
actually had his own place in a Memphis bar where many country singers had been. And I
Mm,
mentioned this, Angel, on our birthday bash, that
Mm-hmm.
he had his own like little seat where he would sit in a Memphis bar where many of the singers
Yes.
had been.
I do remember that, even though I was buzzed, but I do remember that.
We had a drunken Angel at that point.
wow.
But no, yeah.
No more
He
free beers for you, Angel.
if you watch his if you do happen to look it up on YouTube and you see his music video for Rap is Crap,
Mm-hmm.
he has his picture taken with some of the cutouts like George Strait and um Dolly Parton. There's like cutouts and they have their pictures taken with those cutouts. Oh,
Wow.
Oh.
and if you actually watch, where is it? This picture of him when they
Yeah,
do
there
the
you
Rap is
go.
Crap live, he
Yeah.
mentions, and I don't know if it's true or not, but he mentions that Alan Jackson, John Anderson, Mark Wills, and somebody else were in the audience. He actually says they were in the audience listening to him.
Oh
And I
wow.
mean, Toby Keith, though, didn't have a run with him, but Toby Keith was best friends with Jeff Jarrett and appeared on TNA.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like a lot of crossover. Oh, I know.
Right.
Kurt did an angle with Chad Brock. And for those country fans who know Chad Brock, he's the one who does Lightning Does the Work. It's the only song I like from him.
Uh,
But he apparently was also a wrestler back in 96. Didn't really make it in wrestling, so Chad Brock
hmm,
went to country singing. And
wow.
that's an angle that is done. Apparently, they don't show it on Peacock because I don't know if it's copyright or they just can't show Chad Brock on Peacock.
I think it's
He
copyrighted.
Okay, it could have been.
It could
Yeah,
be,
it's
yeah.
probably copyrighted. But what happens is Chad Brock is doing a live concert at WCW Nitro, and Kurt comes out and just tears up the whole damn stage because he's supposedly jealous of Chad Brock. And I think they did an interview with Kurt. One of the interviews, he's like, "Yeah, I had a blast with that." Yeah, he said,
yeah,
Chad Brock was an up and coming superstar, country music superstar, and he just had a blast with it.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
Toby Keith was on TNA, and he was
yes, he
best
was.
friends with Jeff Jarrett. So R.I.P.
Hmm.
Toby Keith. He just passed of cancer.
Yes, and I still like. I'm amazed. It's unfortunate though that Kurt's final match was with David Flair in TNA. It's like it's just a terrible way to go out.
I'm putting it
Unfortunately.
off. I'm definitely putting it off, but I'm just
Uh huh.
like, we gotta watch along to that fucking match. I hate it,
Hmm.
but I mean, and I want to do his promo beforehand because he talks about making in the wrestling business 147 million. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ! I'll never see that shit. What the fuck?
Yeah,
But no,
it.
he deserved it if that's a true
Yeah.
number that he used to make. And then he would like at the end, he was like taking down Brock Lesnar at 30,000 feet, priceless. I love it. It's like digging into Brock Lesnar. Fuck you,
Yeah,
dude.
that's what got him fired from WWF. I'm like, that's stupid. And it's like,
Who has
really?
one brain cell from shitting himself?
Um,
Brock Lesnar? Probably. He
David
fell on his
Flair.
head at
Yeah,
WrestleMania 19.
Oh, remember
yeah,
that?
he
Yeah,
Remember
that
did.
that
fight
shooting
Yes,
star
star.
he
press that
did.
just
Yeah,
landed
that
It
on
fight with
X? I
landed
was
Kurt
right on
like,
his
Angle.
head.
what a fucking moron.
With a, with a,
Apparently the story with that was Michael Hayes, Freebird Hayes told him to do the shooting star press.
wow.
That Freebird Hayes, I think he may have been drunk on Jack, but he told him
Yeah.
He
to
was drunk
fucking
all
do
the
a shooting
time.
star press,
Oh,
and like,
Toby
okay.
Keith.
Then Brock was like, okay, yeah, I mean, I'll do it. It's like right in his head.
Hey, be nice to Toby Keith. I actually like some of Toby Keith's older stuff when he first came in.
Hey, for being Puerto Rican, at least I know who's Toby Keith.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's a legend, definitely a legend.
yeah. I
The
mean,
only reason I mentioned Toby Keith is because of the whole Chad Brock thing with Kurt. I mean, Kurt loved country music. He loved George Jones. He loved Hank Williams Sr. And if it wasn't for, Alan Jackson and Jimmy Buffett, I wouldn't even know Hey Good Looking.
yeah.
They actually had like a collaboration with Toby
Oh,
Keith and did the Hey Good Looking song that was Hank Williams Sr.'s.
okay.
The
Well,
only George Jones song I know is the duet he did with Patty Loveless.
oh, well, well. Talking about Michael Hayes, he's the fucker. He's the Freebird Hayes who also came up with the idea for the TLC match and told these
Ugh.
fuckers to do that shit. Like the
Ugh.
spear, when Edge speared Jeff Hardy off the ladder and down to the ground, he told him to do that. Like,
And
oh
and
yeah, to spear the shit out of him off the ladder, and you land on the ground. It's not a big deal.
and
I
as
think it
a
was
Freebird, he never used a chair or a ladder or a
no,
table.
no, but he would
What
tell
the
these guys to
fuck?
do that. And these guys like Edge and Jeff Hardy were marks. Oh yeah, I mean it's a great spot,
Right.
isn't it? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and if you've read any tweets from oh shit, Matt Hardy lately, oh he's
Hmm.
all in the sucking dick for the, Tony Khan. He sucks that
Yeah.
dick good because he's been talking
Eh,
saying good things about
Tony
AEW and you have to put my friends in the Hall of Fame. Fuck you.
Tony
Your
Tony
friends
Khan
suck. They're the
Tony Khan
shits.
is he's looking for a new contract because his contract expired with AEW.
Yeah, he fell
And
right on his
he,
head,
he's
old
not
man.
he's not going to WWE, so it's like they don't want him. So it's like Then Tony
Yeah.
Khan apparently offered him a new deal. I'm like, are you fuck? Why the fuck would you offer Matt Hardy a new
And Jeff is
deal?
a fucking druggie.
Yeah, and Jeff Hardy got arrested like a year ago for another DUI. So it's
Yeah.
come on, man. I mean, what? Tony Khan is just signing his favorite wrestlers from the '90s. That's all he's
Old
doing
man, I get the
lately.
impression that you like Brock Lesnar. Fuck that dude.
Brock is a shooting star press, but no other. You know when he would do it
He
well in
dropped on his head
OVW.
because he was an idiot.
No, he would
Right.
do it in
I'm sorry.
OVW. He would do it well there. To be fair,
Oh,
Cornette
I'm
talked
fine.
about.
Yeah. The thing is,
Mm,
what gets me is they're like,
mm,
oh, Kurt Hennig trained Brock Lesnar. Well,
no,
he
he didn't.
fucking didn't. He worked out with him a couple of
Yeah,
times.
he didn't train
And
Brock.
he took one of the major things that Kurt had said out of fucking context, put it in his fucking book like it was real.
Yeah, like, oh, don't be a lifer in the wrestling business. It's like, don't be a
Okay, I'll give
lifer in
you
here.
that, old man. But yeah, like
Hmm.
Angel and D, you were with me for the birthday bash, so yeah, and I had complained about this beforehand. The thing is, in his book, he's like, oh, don't become a lifer. That's what Kurt told him. That's because he was complaining because he didn't like the fucking travel of WWE or professional wrestling. Well, if you
Yeah,
don't fucking like it, don't become a lifer. That means don't fucking stick around.
yeah. That's what he meant, and instead and then Brock just stuck in his book like, "Oh yeah, Kurt told me no be a lifer in the business," So I wasn't. I left. I went to the UFC. Oh, actually no, he tried to get to the NFL first, but he couldn't make it. So it was like
Right.
that's when he ended
Yeah,
up in
he got
UFC.
dumped on his head because he didn't realize that and the NFL was not professional wrestling at the time.
Yeah, so that's why
Yeah,
he
fuck
didn't
that
make it,
dude.
and then he went to the UFC and he made it, became UFC heavyweight champion. After only his third or fourth fight or something. It was like, oh wow.
Well, and here's the kicker. I blame Brock for this. Brock couldn't take a fucking joke, so he fucking attacks Kurt. Kurt's just trying to defend himself on the fucking plane ride, and everyone blew it out of proportion. And you were right. I did talk. They were talking to Mike Chioda, who was on the
The
plane, and he
the
said Vince was on the
referee.
plane. So you were
Uh,
right, Angel. But there's some people that say Vince wasn't there. So
Yes, that's
anyway,
the thing. It's like there's not real confirmation whether
I
Vince
don't
was on
have
the
to be
plane or
lady
not.
like bad cookies. Fuck that. and fuck Brock Lesnar too. And that dude deserves it because he's a fucking fetish. I mean, I get it that you're fetish and stuff, but fuck them. Fuck your fucking fetishes, you fucking
It-
asshole.
I mean, we can't get confirmation whether Vince was on this plane, and I'm assuming that he was because he would have been. He was there in the European
That's what
tour.
Mike Chioda said. That's what he said. So I'm just repeating what he said. I had seen an interview with him, and he said he had the hat and the glasses. So if anyone messed with him, he would feel the glasses coming off and the hat coming off.
Yes.
Because if you fell asleep, and he wouldn't name anybody, but he said if you fall asleep, you're gonna end up without an eyebrow. But everyone blames Kurt for that because he probably did
Yeah.
it like one time and then got blamed for it when everyone else was trying to, oh, it wasn't me, it was
Yeah.
Kurt.
It's too much.
you know,
I.
Wash
I.
my mouth
As,
with what?
yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I was
You know,
like,
Go ahead.
oh
mhm.
no. Who was talking? Me or go ahead? Yeah.
No, go ahead, Angel.
I kind of forgot what I was saying. So go. You go.
You got it suck. No, you know what? I
He's
think I
drunk.
don't know. I
Go
don't know
ahead.
if we brought this up. I wish we did in the perfect holiday bash. It's
Yeah. Go
it's the
ahead.
ribs. The ribs. I always keep
Yes.
hearing
Yes.
that
Brock could not
Mister.
take a rib. He couldn't take a rib. Even though I'm sure Kurt's ribbed him 100 times, and he's ribbed everybody else, and he couldn't take a fucking joke, and so that's why like they got into a fight because uh, this is what
Ooh,
supposedly
Brock.
happened. He put shaving cream on Brock's head, so Brock went to go wipe it off, and then had said a few words to Kurt. Kurt got pissed, and then they started fighting. And then,
Yeah.
oh, people were saying, oh, they were near the door. They weren't even fucking near the door. Don't give me that shit. There's lots of people who say that they weren't even close.
Well,
JBL is one.
Scott Hall said they weren't close either. So,
Scott
but
Hall,
Scott,
just incredible.
yeah, even though Scott Hall said after that he fell asleep and slept through most of the flight, but He
Yeah,
did
he's
see
like,
that
Yeah.
part.
yeah, he also said, "Oh, I think Kurt roofied me. I don't think he
Yeah.
roofied
Yeah.
you, dude."
He blamed Kurt for it. Like,
He blamed Kurt for roofing him and falling asleep, and he
Yeah.
tried to lick the stewardess. I'm like, no, dude, you were just fucked
Yeah.
yeah, Scott was
up.
just fucked up in that time. So it was like, oh, well, no, it wasn't me. It was Kurt.
Yeah,
He
it was
Right,
roofied me.
right.
Kurt.
I think.
Well, everybody blames Kurt for everything. It's like, oh, I lost an eyebrow. Kurt did it.
Right.
Kurt told Jacques Rougeau what Dynamite was talking shit about him. Oh, it was Kurt. Well, he was talking to a friend. He was telling his friend what Dynamite was saying. I don't know how Kurt really felt about Dynamite. I do know that they worked together in Portland, but I mean, he kind of. The thing is, I don't think Dynamite talks nice about Kurt, so I don't think there was heat there. But I
Well,
mean, the whole thing, even with Kevin Kelly, you know who Kevin Kelly is?
the commentator.
No, Kevin Kelly.
There was like,
Nails. He was Nails.
oh,
Oh.
He
I thought
was
you were referring to the commentator. So
no, no,
Right,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah, I know.
There's another guy
Yes,
called Kevin Kelly,
yes, he's Nails. I know
and
him.
he was
Yeah.
Nails, and this is the whole um Earl Hebner was actually in the room, and I saw the interview with Earl Hebner they just did.
Mm-hmm.
He had Vince up against the wall, and
Yeah,
it
he
was
was
because
choking.
Kurt had mentioned to Kevin Kelly, who they were friends in AWA. They were,
AWA. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember.
they worked together in AWA and drove around together on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I recently found that out too by Brian Knobs and Jerry Sags,
Yeah,
the Nasty Boys.
I
So,
saw a shoot with Knobs. He was talking about that.
yeah, like he said that Kurt said, "Oh, Boss Man got this much," and Kevin Kelly was pissed. He comes walking down, and
Yeah,
he puts Vince
that's what
McMahon up
led to
against the
him.
wall. Oh my
That's what led to him
god!
choking Vince.
Don't
And
fuck
I'm
with that
like,
guy, dude.
and,
Oh my
and
god.
I was like, part of me wished he would have probably finished the job with Vince, so none of this shit would have happened with him decades later.
What would have been
Yeah,
if he had offed Vince McMahon?
yeah, in the early '90s, it was like, and Bret Hart was there. He was outside the office. He was like, "Oh, Vince," like,
So was Jerry Sags. Yeah, Jerry
and
Sags
Bret was
saw him
like,
in
"You
the
know what?
room.
I'm not going to do anything. I'm gonna walk away."
But
And then
they,
Right.
eventually,
yeah.
Vince's Sergeant Slaughter and stuff like, "Come on, Brett, we need your help." Like, ah, shit, okay.
Brett's like, do I have to?
Do I have to? Okay, I'll help. You know, like get him
I'll
off.
help. Get off of him. I think Kurt should have also broken that up. Dude, I was just messing. No, I mean, he was doing. The thing with Kurt is you have to understand. I mean, Scott Hall talks about this too. And Brett talks about it in his book that he kind of stopped Scott Hall from, Vince, I don't think you should give Flair the belt. I mean, look what he did with the NWA belt or the WCW belt. At the time, it was the NWA belt.
NWA World Title. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So Scott Hall was gonna to explain this to Vince, and Kurt kind of kicked his leg and went, "Don't do it." Like, don't do it. So Kurt, they also Brett gives credit to Kurt coming up with the HBK thing, because that was a lyric from a country song. So HBK got, and Sean loved it. Sean loved the Heartbreak Kid lyric. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Somebody's.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was
Kurt.
No, it was Kurt. He got it from a country song.
I heard that.
Kurt just handed Shawn Michaels his gimmick into the Heartbreak
Right.
Kid.
And it was Kurt and Vince that kind of came up with the whole Scott Hall Razor Ramon thing, because Vince wanted the Scarface thing.
According to Scott Hall, he said Vince never saw Scarface until years later.
Yeah.
No, but Kurt did, I think.
Yeah, Kurt did, but not Vince.
Not
Vince.
Vince thought that they were coming up with a gimmick, like, "Oh,
right.
I love it, pal. I love it. New gimmick." Is like, let
Big
me
Show
Razor
or
Ramon.
chocolate. Big Show.
What?
Or chocolate.
Oh,
Real
the sexual
quick,
chocolate.
Big Show
Mark.
or chocolate. Oh, sexual chocolate.
Sexual
Mark
chocolate.
Henry?
Mark Henry.
Oh, Mark Henry.
Yeah.
Really?
What?
Big Show.
I didn't like either. I didn't like Mark Henry, and I didn't like Big Show.
What,
Fuck
do I
them
have to
dicks.
choose?
I mean, well, let me tell you something. Wait.
I choose Kurt Hennig.
With the giant. with the giant.
That's my sexual chocolate right there.
When the giant was with the Dungeon of Doom. When the giant was Dungeon of Doom. I mean, the dude could run. He could move.
I'm sorry. watching the Yankee game, so
Yeah.
that's why I
Oh,
yelled
let's go.
out.
Yo, you got me a little hype. He got a little hype with Big Show. Okay, Angel.
Yeah, yeah. Go
Let's
ahead.
no, but oh, sexual chocolate. No Diddy. No Diddy. Right? I'm just no. I'm just saying. I mean,
Are you trying to make me throw up, dude? Seriously. No, I didn't like because the whole. Did you guys remember the Mae Young giving birth to a hand?
Oh my
What the
god.
fuck?
That was
Is
a
this fucking
terrible Vince
Twilight
Russo
Zone?
angle. That's a terrible Vince Russo thing, which
Oh
Vince allowed on
God!
his television.
An
I don't know why
80-year-old
Vince
Wow.
woman
allowed
giving
that.
birth? What the fuck?
I don't know why
Wow.
Vince allowed that on his television. That was garbage.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
absolute garbage.
Mm.
And
It's
the Vince
like
Russo, I'm not surprised to find out that was fucking Vince Russo.
that
He
had to be
sits
that's
there and bitches
Russo.
about shit.
That was fucking Russo. It's like I don't. It's that Vince allowed it. Oh yeah, pal. Ratings, whatever. I don't care.
It's
But
Ratings. What the fuck? I'm just sitting there going,
no, and the thing with the Big Show, Paul White, everything that either a
me.
speech
Oh
or the
like
training, he's always crying.
if I had to choose Maze, I would choose I
I choose Kurt
can't.
Hennig.
I mean I didn't like both of them really, but
Yeah, I didn't like either or.
I'm
I
sorry. I mean
mean,
a Big
Big Show
Show
was a
maybe.
giant, and I wasn't much for the
I,
giant unless he was in the NWO.
Yeah,
I,
I would have to say Big Show maybe, but but I don't like
But
either
I
of
didn't
them,
like
so it's
Big
like
Show when he
bleh,
came in against Austin. Yeah, and you could
oh
see the
yeah,
knife when Paul
right,
White
right.
comes up out of the
hmm
thing.
Yeah, that was
Because
the massacre, the Valentine's massacre.
and
Paul
Yeah,
his
White.
debut,
the
he
steel cage
debuted.
match between Austin and McMahon.
Yeah, it's like
I
Paul
like the
White.
match better than the wrestlers.
Yeah, the
Well, I mean, I
match.
like Stone Cold,
You
but
know,
I
Stone
mean,
Yeah,
Cold, right?
yeah.
yeah, but I like the match
Vince.
better.
To his credit, Vince busted his ass for Steve Austin to get him over as a
Right.
Yeah,
heel.
and of course, because they were doing that whole Austin McMahon, and it was the right time because the middle class was
hmm
shrinking
Yeah.
significantly. And I mean, even Vince admits this on the rivalries,
Uh
Austin
huh.
versus McMahon, that I mean, they were looking for the gimmick to, because the NWO on the other channel had literally come out and they were rule breakers. You know, they were
Yeah.
against tradition, and that's kind of what the middle class had felt because the middle class was shrinking in real life
Under
in the
Clinton,
90s.
and Clinton was awful. I
No,
grew
that
up in his administration. We all did, or at least me.
yeah,
It was like
and we didn't vote for him because we were too
no, no.
small.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
Twice.
Dang.
They
oh,
voted for him twice,
Wait a minute.
and I
Was I
was
was
yeah.
I'm
We
voting
got
age?
another one here. Mankind on Gangrel. I was like Mankind.
neither. Yeah,
No,
Mick
neither.
Foley.
mankind.
Mick Foley was good.
He
I
was
mean,
good, but I didn't like Mick Foley.
I mean, I
Sorry.
grew up with Mick Foley. My thing, and I mentioned this is that
well,
my
Cornette
thing with
loves Foley, so
yeah, and
Well,
then my
yeah, he
thing,
could wrestle.
and I always said my thing with these hardcore wrestlers that in Puerto Rico, in my little island of Puerto
yeah,
Rico,
yeah.
you know, the
My
BBC to
mother,
love blood.
my mother, Colon is from my mother's hometown,
Yeah,
eh,
yeah,
Santa Isabel,
yeah. Okay.
and she saw him a couple times as teenagers, like, oh my god, this fuck, it's Carlos Colon,
Yeah.
like he was like Hogan over there in Puerto Rico. Everybody
Carlitos
loves him.
Colon. Oh,
hmm
absolutely. Well, he was
Yeah.
Hogan, but you know what's interesting with him? Even though he did shit on some wrestlers or whatever, but it was him and there was these other the guy that killed Bruce Brody. I say
He
in my
covered up.
Uh,
feet.
He covered
Menendez?
up. Jose
Yeah.
What the
Gonzalez,
Well,
Invader
Invader One.
Alice? Yeah.
well, his
Invader
wrestling
One.
ring was Invader One, right? So
Jose
they
Gonzalez
ran
was his name.
right. They ran the whole little Puerto Rico thing. My thing that we with Carlos Colon is that he's one of the few people that had control, but he still
Oh
managed
my
to tell a
god.
story. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Sorry.
Cologne. My mother. I mean, it's like Cologne. I think
Right.
definitely helped cover it up Brody's
Well,
murder.
Dutch Mantel was down there. He
Yeah.
loves to talk about Puerto Rico,
oh
and
yeah,
Oh, he
he
loved
would
working
talk
down
about,
there.
yeah, he would talk about,
hmm
oh, you couldn't stay too long because they would eventually throw batteries at the.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, they
he
would throw
had
batteries at the
the
right.
heels.
the fucking gringos, the heels had to
Oh
fuck
yeah,
off pretty
yeah.
quickly.
Oh yeah.
And
They worked a
even
little bit and they would leave.
neither. I
Mm-hmm.
hated Shawn Michaels. Fuck that dude. And I hated
Shawn
Shamrock.
Michaels and Shamrock.
I'm sorry, D, but I did
No,
not
no,
like
it's all
Shawn
D
like,
Michaels.
D would definitely
And I
choose
hated
Shawn
Ken
Michaels.
Shamrock.
oh my
D, you
goodness.
would definitely choose Shawn
You
Michaels.
know,
Me is like,
you know what we gotta do.
Shamrock, I guess. I don't know because
Look,
I hated Michaels too.
we gotta do this in a future show.
Uh
We're gonna
huh.
put a list of top 20 wrestlers, whatever the case might be, and we're
Mhm.
gonna have to debate. I love
That's a
Shawn
good
Michaels.
idea.
You
We
know,
should
I
list. We should list
right,
our top 20 all time and kind of put it up and debate it. You know,
Yeah, but
right.
you guys know mine is gonna be Kurt Hennig, Stone Cold, Kurt Hennig, Kurt Hennig, Kurt Hennig, Kurt Hennig, Kurt
But
Hennig.
that's fine. But look, my thing
well,
is,
I mean,
my thing is this, Missy. Even if you say,
I need a bathroom break. I'll be right back.
right, that's all
Alright.
right. Even if you say Kohanik, who are wrestlers that you enjoy watching? You know, I'm pretty sure they got to be more than those two. Rick
I mean
Rude,
I did like Bret Hart, but
okay.
very rarely.
Mm.
I liked him more with oh god, I hated fucking Kane and I hated Triple H. Why do you keep talking to me
Uh,
about these fucking ass wrestlers? I
yeah,
wasn't much
that's
for
it.
Kane and I wasn't much for Triple H.
Right. You
I
see, I
hated
ain't.
Triple H. Triple H.
Uh,
Fuck that dude. He was terrorizing in WCW.
yes, I remember that with the nice little. I mean, that was not even a mullet. They just had the hair like
Mr.
don't
Perfect or
move.
Bret Hart. That would be a better scenario. And
Right.
I would choose Mr. Perfect. Of course, Angel would
Uh,
choose Bret Hart, you know.
they're both great. I mean, Mr.
I just got
Perfect.
done
Wow.
watching Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Mm,
He did have in February of '89, they did have a match before they met at WrestleMania 6. And I'm gonna do that the match because it ends up in a DQ anyway.
mm,
Because it was Ron
Kane.
Bass and Brutus were having a feud.
mhm.
So I'm gonna do that for episode 32. We're gonna do the Beefcake and Kurt Hennig match, Mr.
Kane
Perfect.
and Triple H.
Yeah,
They
Vincent.
both suck.
I
Uh,
if I had to choose one, I would probably
I'm the
choose.
Triple
I
H,
would
gamer.
Triple
choose
H.
Kane because I didn't like Triple H, especially in
Oh, oh
his
my
era,
God.
especially when
Oh,
he
come
was a
on,
champion
Angel.
for like 3 year
Come
period.
on.
You didn't
He
like the
was Goldberg.
gamer.
All
Fuck
right,
Goldberg.
Yo, damn.
it's
Fuck
it's
Goldberg. And Angel will
Hey,
agree with me.
Goldberg
Angel
and
will agree with me.
Misawa. Misawa, who's
I don't
Misawa?
even
I
know
would
who
choose
Misawa
him,
is.
but
I don't
yeah, I
even know
mean
who
Goldberg.
Misawa is. Who the fuck is Misawa?
I might know if you give me his first name, but yeah, I don't know who that is. But
Well,
I would
fuck
choose
Goldberg.
anybody over Goldberg. I would choose
right.
anybody over Goldberg.
What's it? Is he talking about that Japanese wrestler, the one that was in NWA? That he was a
Yeah,
NWO.
yeah,
What's his
yeah.
No,
I'm
name? He
pretty
no,
was a
that
sure
was
legend.
the Great Muda.
that was
He was
Muda, wasn't
NWO.
it?
Yeah,
That
Great
was
Muda was
yeah.
NWO.
Wow,
Get
wow.
Muda just retired recently. He had his final
Mhm.
match in
out.
Japan. Yeah, he was still
Wow.
working. He was in AEW. He went to AEW recently, and he was
Mitsura?
working there. And
I don't know who that is.
Masahiro Misawa. I recognize the name, but I don't
I don't know who
remember
that is.
exactly who that is.
So fuck
I
both of
know
them.
he's Japanese, but I would choose anybody over Goldberg. That's your answer, Mace. But
What
Yeah.
was they were talking about Goldberg and Ashira? I'm like, Ashira, isn't that a woman?
Asuka, I think he's talking
Asuka.
about Asuka, because Goldberg was complaining that Asuka had an undefeated streak longer than his. He went on a
Oh,
podcast
fuck you, Goldberg.
talking about how she had an undisputed streak longer than me, and it's not fit.
You,
And they were
you only
ripping off
got
my
that way
gimmick.
because Bischoff actually fucking liked you because he was trying to
Bischoff,
push you because you look like Stone Cold, but you
yeah,
weren't Stone Cold.
Bischoff was pushing him because he looked
You
like
had 3
Austin.
fucking moves.
Yeah. And William Regal exposed him. Remember that match they had like in '97 ish? That's how
Yeah,
Regal got
yeah,
fired from WCW. He
Yep.
exposed
yeah.
him. Regal was
And
like, "Fuck,
I,
fuck this! I'm gonna expose it." He exposed him. He's like, he couldn't work. It's like,
no, and you know what's the sad thing about that? So then WWE pick up Regal, and then they give him a shitty gimmick, man at
a
work or
man's
some weird.
man. He's a
A
man's
man.
man.
I'm like, what with a
I'm a
flannel?
man. I'm a
Yeah,
man.
from
That
English,
man's
and
man gimmick.
they should. You know, it would have been cool if they had that, and then afterwards have him drink a little English tea. Like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
fuck me.
Neither. Fuck
Booker
Booker
T and
T. Fuck
Jericho.
Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho sucks. He sucks since
Jericho's the
WCW.
shits.
Yeah,
Jericho's
he
the
is the
shits.
shiz.
No, but I
I
like
Booker
never
Booker
liked
T
T.
by
Booker T.
default. Booker T
Yeah,
by
no,
default, I
no,
guess.
I
I
love
I don't
Booker
never
know.
liked
T.
Booker T either. Sorry, I just never liked Booker
What?
T.
It's
I'm a big
default. I
Booker
mean,
T.
I like
No, I
this
don't like
Five-time.
feud.
Booker T.
I like this
Five-time.
feud. This feud.
Five-time.
Nah.
I
And he
like
was
this
even
feud.
shittier in WWF, WWE.
Mm.
And he had
WWFE.
that
I don't
angle
know.
against. I mean, what the fuck? That angle against Stone
Damn,
Cold.
Booker.
Yeah, I like
Oh
that.
yeah,
With the,
hey,
with, I to be
that was
fair,
He
I
cool.
like
beats him
that
up in a
angle.
fucking grocery
The
The
grocery
what?
store.
store.
That was a great. That was awesome.
What
Yeah,
the
they still
fuck?
he still talks about that. You know, that was weird, man. I'm like, damn, like they should have just gave this shit to people and be like, you know what?
I wasn't much for even in WCW. I didn't wasn't much for Booker T.
Remember
Sorry.
Well,
GIT?
No.
Russo tells the story. Russo tells the story that he wanted to put the WCW title on him because
Ugh.
everyone in the creative meeting said Booker T should be the champion. So I was like, okay, well Booker T should be the
Agree.
champion.
No,
Like
Kurt
very,
Hennig should have been champion too.
like it's very lazy
Sorry.
booking by Russo. Lazy booking. Like
Yeah,
Cornette would say.
yeah.
Lazy booking.
It's like yeah, I
Jim
mean yeah.
Cornette.
Everybody says Russo.
Well, X
Booker
May,
T should
stop
be the
saying all
champion.
these shitty wrestler names. They're all shit.
I'm
It just
sorry, Maze.
I
Yeah,
guess I
we're old.
guess
We're
I
kind
guess
of
that's yeah.
we
It's that
appreciate all
guy.
your
It's that guy.
comments.
It's that guy trolling, man. No, but I mean, like
We
my thing.
appreciate all your comments. I mean,
I,
we like more
I
interaction.
just didn't
no,
like a lot of wrestlers. I didn't like Sting. I didn't like DDP. Fuck those guys. I didn't like
high five. Damn, damn. With
DDP.
that fake, yeah, with that fake. Remember, with the, you know, it's funny that was the most obvious ripoff of that Nirvana song,
Mhm.
Teen Spirit. That was
Oh, really?
DDP. I think, yeah, they sued DDP. They
DD
sued them. Yeah, they sued them.
Jay-Z sued DDP. I think it was because
Well,
Don't
Jay-Z
be
used to
sorry.
have
I'm
the.
just
right,
picking on the
right.
X-Mays.
But listen to the
No, don't
DDP.
apologize. I mean, I
Yeah,
like
don't
the
apologize.
interaction.
I'm just messing with you. I'm ribbing you.
Eh,
Right. Yeah, no, so my thing is this. So yeah, listen to the DDP theme song,
Mhm.
and it
Uh-huh.
sounds like the Vanna that Teen Spirit thing 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 high five thing 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 thing. So I think they went after him.
Oh, you mean his theme song?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that thing
Okay.
I
thing
grew
thing
up.
thing.
Yeah, Maze. We grew up in the early '90s too. At least me
Yeah,
and
I mean,
Steph
we're
did.
Angel and I are pretty much the same age. I'm just a little older than him by a few months.
Yeah,
I'm
we
I think
60
the
grew up
years
oldest
in the
old.
one.
WWF days
I was
too.
gonna
Yeah,
say the oldest one here is probably
yeah,
D.
D. Yeah.
But and maybe it's wait, it's my gray hair showing. Hold on. Let me.
No,
So,
even though
No.
even though D is a little older, but my family always balds young. By the time I was 30, I was balding. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna shave my head.
You know
wait a
what?
minute.
Balding is good. Look at Stone Cold.
Right.
Balding
Yeah,
was sexy
he
because of
shaved his
Stone
head too.
Cold.
Yeah, he shaved his like you know, it's funny because at least he get it that he was thinning. I don't know about Hulk Hogan still working on that thin hair.
Oh,
I don't know,
brother.
black hair. Yeah,
No,
you
no,
know,
brother. No,
I
no,
mean,
brother. I got a full head of
I
hair,
don't know,
brother.
brother. These 24 pythons is going in my hair, brother. And let me tell you
Brother.
something.
We know what he told a court one time that the Hulk Hogan's dick was bigger than Terry Bollea's. He told a
Well,
court that.
well, that's the thing with these old school wrestlers. They believed in their characters. Like
Right,
they believe he believed he was Hulk Hogan. You know, he believed it.
right.
Hogan and Savage. Now this is an
Savage.
interesting one.
Oh,
Savage.
Hogan or Savage? Savage.
Savage by
Savage was
far.
more believable.
No.
Savage by far.
It depends. If
Better
you asked
wrestler.
me when I was a kid, I would say Hogan. You asked me today, I would say Savage.
So you see,
So
that's my
Savage.
so that's
If you
my
asked
thing.
me when I was a kid, I'd say Savage. If
Savage.
you ask me now, I would say Hogan in the NWO.
My thing, I
Oh.
gravitated to
In court.
to the bad guys, the heels.
Mhm.
So Savage to me was
I didn't.
way better. You know what I mean? That's I get. You know what happened? I'll tell you what
Mhm.
happened. So my cousin, you know, he passed away in the late '90s. He was one of those smart ones that knew what happened. Like when he told me that Vince
Yeah.
McMahon owns the company, I was like,
I
what?
was
I'm like,
No.
yeah, who really?
Junior.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
Junior.
right, Vince, right. He was like, really? So he
Mhm.
was like, oh, look. So he was showing me, look what they're doing. He was the one that was telling me that wrestling was fake. I'm like, really? No. So he will show the tapes. Like we will do rent the tapes, you know, from VHS tape, whatever. So he'll rewind. Look, David, they're not even hitting them. Look, you see, he's like, oh, come on, stop it. So, anyways,
Yeah,
so
I
Mhm.
was like, no, Vince is just the commentator. He's like the play-by-play guy. He's the owner. I figured
Mhm.
this out in
Yeah,
the
but
early '90s
insiders didn't
too.
know that at the time, and that
Yeah.
wasn't a very well known public thing
Right.
yet.
Uh, Indy says,
Oh,
D is
D, you're
sitting in the
sitting in
dark.
darkness.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Piper or Hart?
Ring lights, Piper or Hart?
Now
Bret
or
Hart?
when I was a kid?
I would have chose Bret Hart either way. Piper's
I know, because
fantastic as
you're
a
a
heel,
Hart.
but
You like Bret Hart.
no, Piper's fantastic as a heel, but yeah, I would go
I
Hart either
liked
way.
Piper when he was on the mic. Oh
Oh
my
Piper
yeah, he
gosh,
was
was,
that dude
awesome.
funny. Oh,
yeah,
was he
Piper
Piper
was
was
one
funny?
of the best.
Oh, he was funny. Oh, he was funny. He made a comment at the Royal Rumble. It was 91. It was during a Rockers match. He said, technically perfect. No offense, Mr. Perfect. Like Kurt's sitting back there going, you motherfucker!
fucker.
No,
Kurt
Piper.
didn't give a fuck.
Well, let me tell you something. So I sometimes when because in my podcast I talk about
Hmm.
philosophy and all that. So when I
Yeah,
try to promote people that don't know wrestling, I bring up Piper when he goes. Just when you have all the answers, I change the question.
change your
When I
question.
right when I say that, people be like,
Mhm.
"Wow, D, wow." I'm like, no, that's Roddy Piper that said that.
Piper, that's not
You
me.
know,
That's
like,
not you. Yeah,
but
he's
Piper
like
was just on fire
you're
with the mic when it comes to
Like I
that.
keep
yeah
telling Kit when he hits 5K or 50K, excuse me.
50.
When
Hmm.
he hits 50K, he's going to wear a kilt. And I said, real men wear kilts. And I put Rowdy Piper said that.
Oh,
Ugh. I hated both. Fuck the
Bad
Hollies and fuck the
Cookie
Hardy
says
Boys.
the Hardy Boys or the Hollies.
Fuck both of them.
The Hollies. I didn't like the. I mean, I like the Hardy Boys,
I
but
hated the Hardy
at
Boys.
yeah, I mean, as a kid, I kind of liked the cool gimmicks,
Perfect.
like
Steamboat.
all right, Steamboat or Perfect.
Oh,
Perfect.
perfect. Even though Steamboat was great in
Oh,
ring.
Steamboat was fantastic. I
Steamboat,
mean, but
Steamboat was good, but
yeah,
fuck you. Perfect.
but his run in WCW in the late '90s, I mean late '80s, wasn't good. I mean because he was wrestling Flair for the world titles, and Flair and his wife would come to the ring with him with these ridiculous not ridiculous but really expensive like dresses and stuff, and he would come with his son to the ring, and
Oh
it was
yeah.
Yeah,
Ricky
see,
Jr. It was awful.
Right.
yeah,
Oh my
well, no, I
goodness.
don't know. I like the whole dragon get up, but I mean, yeah,
He
coming to
should
your
have been
son with
Ricky
your
the
son,
Dragon. Yeah, he's coming to the
and he
ring with his
was. I
son and his
just
Yeah,
don't
he
wife.
remember what
was.
pay per view it was.
Yeah, because he
It,
bought
it
that
was
Kamana Dragon thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
Cornette talked about this, and he was like, "Oh, they did the family thing with him, and that was terrible. They wanted to see Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, not Ricky the
Right.
family man. With his wife and his
Mm,
Ricky Jr. with him and stuff."
okay, I get that, but there's also a
So,
lot of bitching about, like Tito Santana when he took his family to see No Holds Barred, and then they had an interview with him and his whole family, and I didn't know Tito Santana's wife was white. I'm like, holy crap.
I don't know who his wife is to this day, so it's like I didn't
No,
know
I don't
until
know her
you.
name. I just know
Yeah.
that they did an interview with her after they supposedly saw No Holds Barred
Oh.
in '89. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
went
but
to see No Holds Bar.
Ricky.
You've never seen it?
No, I said I they took me to see No Holds Bar.
Oh, I saw
Oh,
it
yeah, I saw it.
like
Mhm.
when did
I,
I see
I,
No Holds Barred?
I
I
was
saw it on TV
I
one
was
time.
Yeah, I
well.
did.
No, it's funny because I was talking about that earlier, and I was saying, "Yo, how funny how Hulk Hogan in his own role that he's supposed to play his own self, doesn't manage to pull it off." You know what I
Come
mean?
Yeah.
on. I
And then,
like the
Davy
oh
Boy
Junkyard
or
Dog.
Junkyard?
I'm sorry, D. I'm sorry.
no,
Go
Davy
no,
ahead.
Boy
well,
or Junkyard?
that's all right.
uh,
I mean, Junkyard
Junkyard.
was a great
yeah,
Junkyard. A lot of people forget Junkyard was. I think. Oh my God,
Mid South.
somebody.
He worked in Mid South for years before. What's his face?
Bill Watts.
Bill Watts. Yeah, he worked
Yeah,
for Bill Watts for years.
Can I just
right.
say something funny because you probably are
Yeah.
going to laugh? I honestly thought Davy Boy Smith was a young uh, Dick Van Patten from Spaceballs. I
Oh,
thought they were the same guy. I was like, damn, he looks good. Oh, that's not okay. Sorry. I thought it was Dick Van Patten because they look
Ah,
very similar. They have
Bad
very
Cookies is trolling Christy Hemme or Stacy Keibler.
Neither. Fuck
Oh
them.
my god.
Did they suck enough dick for you?
Which one I
Yeah.
would take? I take Stacy. Hey.
Well, Stacy screwed around with George Clooney for a while, so
I
that's
was gonna
Oh
say,
yeah.
yeah, Stacy also had that angle with David Flair where she's like, I'm pregnant. And then they
oh
had a
yeah,
fucking interview with him,
that was
her and
fucking
Michael today
Russo.
and Mike today and he's like, oh, you're already showing. I'm like, showing what? She's not fucking pregnant. And you can't
Dude
be
finally got a
showing
light. I
at
thought
one
he was
month.
in a protection agency.
Sometimes the light, I'm like the Undertaker, but sometimes the light kind of like this.
Yeah.
Look, I've got like the sun. Eh? I'm like, come on, now I gotta be like this. Like
Yeah.
John Pierre, what is his name? The guy with the patch.
John Pierre, John,
Olet or something like
Olay,
that.
yeah, Olay,
Yeah.
yeah. He competed.
PGO.
Yeah, he competed in the Brawl for All,
Yeah, he was
which
like
is
by
another
PCO
Russo
now.
idea. Which
Yeah,
Right.
another
which was
Russo
the
idea, which
shits.
was horrible.
Yeah, it was the
Cornette
shits.
was like, I remember Cornette told the story how they were gonna use Doctor Death against Steve Austin. They were gonna make a lot of money. They
Yeah.
suspected, and
Yeah.
Doctor
Dr.
Death tore
Steve
his
Williams.
hamstring. He tore his hamstring, and they couldn't use him anymore. And Cornette was furious with Russo. Was like, "You motherfucker! You cost us millions of dollars because Doctor Death was gonna go against Steve Austin for the championship."
Mm.
You know, Barry Windham tells a story about Dr. Death screwing up his shoulder. It was an accident, a complete accident. And
Yeah.
Dr. Death goes, oh shit, I'm so sorry, Barry.
Oh shit.
He's like, what? And his shoulder is hanging like this,
Like,
really low. It was all
oh
fucked
shit.
up.
Oh shit, my shoulder's fucked.
First of all, Boss Man and Duggan, I wasn't much for either. Sorry.
Well, Boss Man apparently he was really nice.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
was
he was a
Duggan.
great guy. He was a
So
great
was
guy,
Duggan.
but his real name was Ray Trailer. Yeah.
Well, I guess Missy, you were like this. Boss Man, Mr. Perfect. That was a decent match. I think Boss Man.
WrestleMania 7.
Yeah, I think Boss Man, for being a big guy, is pretty nimble. So I think
he was.
Right. So
IRS.
I like
Hurricane
him.
or IRS, no doubt.
I hated Shane
Yeah.
Helms. I wasn't much for Shane Helms.
The hurricane. Oof.
Yeah,
I'm
but
That's what I say.
Yeah. I like there's a
Boss
hurricane's
Man-
gonna wash you out.
Boss Man was a prison guard.
Yeah, he
Right,
really
I
was
heard
a
that.
prison guard in Georgia.
Right.
Yeah,
And
and
he was
Cornette.
in WCW. He was Big Bubba. He was the
Big Bubba Rogers, as Cornette
Yeah, he
would
was
say.
the-
He was Cornette's security.
security. Thank you.
He worked for Cornette because it's Cornette. The gimmick was, Cornette's mother sent him down to protect him from the big bad wrestlers like Dusty Rhodes and stuff.
I'll tell you what. A great match with Boss Man was against. It was the jailhouse match. Him and Jacques Rougeau.
Oh, Jacques Rousseau, yes.
I laughed so hard when they stuck
what was
that
that?
dude in
SummerSlam?
jail.
That was SummerSlam, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Or Wrestle-
SummerSlam 91.
91, yes.
Because
Exactly.
they stuck him in a
Mm.
guy he's like, hi.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
Like,
Don't you just love the way leather
God.
feels against your body? He's like, let me out of here. I'm just like, dude, you're gonna be Bubba. You're gonna be
It was
you're gonna be
it was
you're
that,
gonna be doused with a guy named Bubba.
there was plenty of gay innuendo there, nearly 90s. Like, oh shit. It's like
Billy
Gunn?
dude, bend over and don't drop the soap with this guy
Okay,
around.
Billy Gunn or Luger, neither. Wasn't much for Billy Gunn. I hated fucking Lex Luger.
I liked his gimmick, the narcissist, because
Yes,
that was
he should have
like,
stayed the narcissist.
yes, that was his personality. That's why
Right.
I believe
when he was in
Luger,
WWE, right?
I believe Luger is a narcissist because
Yeah,
he was a narcissist. He
Yeah.
loved his body. He would look at
Because he was a bodybuilder.
Yeah,
He had one
Bobby-
run in WCW and it was the shits. So
Yeah.
he thought WCW or WWE.
Flair made him look good in WCW in his first
Right.
run.
And he got a big head about himself.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, if you not this recent episode, but Rick Rude, I would say not this episode, but the other episode before it was him and Luger at WrestleMania 9. And then I share the audio of Luger saying, oh, Kurt blanked out. He forgot the match. And I'm looking at that match going, I don't see where he fucking blanked out.
Well,
but they were calling spots and Kurt
Yeah.
admits that he finally remembered after a while. But
and Bobby the Brain during his Luger's debut in 90, like whenever it was, he forgot he would call
93.
the narcissist. It's like the narcissist Lex Luger. I'm like, what's a
And then,
narcissist?
See,
and then, and then
I would
He,
yeah, like he and Kurt would call him Narcissi. I
yeah,
love
he
that.
would. They would botch his name.
Narcissi.
Mhm.
and then
That
Because
was
with
in the
again,
middle
Vince,
of Kurt's baby
that
run,
was a Vince
babyface
thing.
run.
Because Vince would love using the big words like narcissist, and the
Hmm
wrestlers didn't know
right?
what that really how to say it. So it's like
Yeah,
narcissist or
narcissist.
narcissy. They would botch
Well,
it
if you look up
either on purpose or an accident. But
if you look up the Greek story about Narcissus, is literally he fell in love with himself by looking at his
yeah,
reflection in a pool of water.
which I'm
So I
sure Vince
mean,
knew.
yeah,
Vince
Hmm.
knew that
and
story.
that's why they called him Narcissus because Luger was in love with himself,
Yeah,
basically.
which
Perfect
Vince
or Stone. Sorry, go
uh
ahead.
uh
Ravishing Rick Rude or Val Venus? Rick Rude.
Rick Rude,
Oh
I
yeah,
hated Sean.
Rick Rude.
I did
perfect
not like
or
Val Venus. Fuck that dude.
are you
Perfect
saying
or
He
Stone
was
perfect or
Cold.
trying.
Austin?
I would say he would be a Rick Rude wannabe because they tried that gimmick again and said, "Oh, Val
Right.
Venus is a porn star," and I'm like,
That was a
Mm.
Russo thing
"What the
again.
fuck?"
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but they
Nah.
were
Rick
trying to
Rude.
get on the coattails of the Rick Rude thing
Yeah, yeah,
because he was supposedly a Chippendale.
yeah.
All right,
Uh,
perfect or Stone Cold.
ah,
Perfect. Even though I
oh,
love Stone Cold, I really
huh.
do. But perfect.
Steve
And I think
Austin.
their feud should have been in 2002. I think their feud should
Yes,
have been longer.
they had
What the
that
fuck?
one
He throws him
match.
out at the Royal Rumble
Yeah, and they
and
had a
and they have
match,
one match.
and Steve Austin beat him. It never
And
happened again
Austin
after.
beat him. No,
N-
have Kurt beat him and then have Austin come back a couple more times and
Would
beat him. But
yeah?
make
Would
it
Austin?
longer.
I don't know whether Austin would have done the job to Kurt. That's why
He
they
would.
kind of
Yeah,
had
I think he
Austin
would
run.
have because Austin talks so highly of Kurt on his podcast. He
I
talks
know.
about uh
Okay.
one
Yeah, that's
second.
true.
He's on his podcast. If you've ever heard him talk about Kurt Hennig, it was Kurt that introduced him to Kevin Dunn.
Mm,
Beforehand, he kind of didn't know what he wanted to do. Austin was still the ringmaster,
yeah.
and he said, "Hey, kid, come here. Kurt did this." And Austin's like, "I was competition. He didn't have to do that shit." But he
Yeah.
kind of propelled me into the Stone Cold gimmick and talking to Kevin Dunn and seeing what we could do. He said, I've never seen Kurt in a bad mood. And even if he ribbed you, you could only stay, mad at him for 15 minutes. And then you just had to because he was
Yeah.
cool. And Austin talks about him with such affection. So I don't, he was
Okay.
definitely loyal, but I mean, Kurt showed him loyalty or showed him that he was a good guy.
Yeah.
And
The
Stone
reason
Cold saw
why.
that.
Yeah, the reason why I said that is because I know Austin wouldn't do the job for Jeff Jarrett years like a few years before that.
Could that because Jeff Jarrett was still with Deborah?
Um,
Mm.
it has something to do with Jeff Jarrett's dad, like a Jerry Jarrett.
Okay, Jerry.
Jerry didn't pay him what he thought he did, and Jeff said, "Oh well, what are you gonna do? Look at the check and not do anything about it." So Austin held that against Jeff, and when they're
Mm.
trying to push Jeff to the main event, it's like, I'm not doing a job to that fucker. Fuck him. And Vince is
Wow.
like, okay,
I
fuck
thought that
Jarrett
had
then.
something to do with Deborah
Yeah.
because
No, I don't
when
think I did anything with Deborah. I don't
okay,
think
because when Deborah was still with Jared and they came out that him and Deb were seeing each other and he kind of said, I want them split up. I'm not going to do nothing with Jared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Austin. Is the Perry Saturn and AJ Styles.
Oh,
Neither.
AJ.
Fuck them.
Nah, AJ, come
I gotta
on.
go with AJ Styles. I mean, Perry
That's
Saturn
that
was.
AJ's my guy, man, from
Mhm.
TNA,
I
man.
lost all respect for Perry Saturn when they made him wear a dress in WCW.
Well, I think Perry Saturn's attitude, like they're paying me, so fuck it. I'm wearing a dress, whatever.
Because he was like a big tough Marine. He was in the
Yeah, he was.
military.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Before he was a wrestler.
Remember, and right, and what happened was that situation with the jobber that he got mad and started
In
hitting him or
WWF, in
something. Right,
WWF,
right.
yeah. Mhm.
So
I don't remember that.
afterwards, yeah, it
He
was a big
threw
thing. Hmm.
the job guy wouldn't sell for Saturn, so he started kicking his ass for real and threw him out of the ring. Shit canned
I did
him.
like the Rings of Saturn, the move that he did, but I didn't like the wrestler.
Yeah. He shit canned him out of the ring and landed on his head, and Vince didn't like that. It's like, well, he wouldn't sell for me, Vince. What do you want me to do?
Right.
Let him beat me? It's like, no, I gotta kick the shit out of this guy,
And
right?
then afterwards, they got him in the dress thing and so on.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hated that shit.
Yeah, Indy, I saw that. First home run. I'm watching the game at the same time and just glancing over. So like,
Hey, y'all, the Twins, baby, and the Pirates. Even
Oh,
if
yeah,
they
yeah.
kind of suck.
uh,
Sting or Undertaker? Neither. I wasn't much for the Undertaker, and I
Undertaker.
fucking
Undertaker,
hated Sting. Fuck that dude.
No,
Undertaker.
I
I
Messi's not.
wish.
Yo, that's what's up, Messi. Talk
didn't
to
say
me.
fuck the troops. I said fuck that dude.
No, I
No,
know.
Taker.
I take
I
Taker.
wish I would have seen Taker with
I hated
Taker versus
Taker.
Sting. That one match, the one year where everybody thought it was supposed to be Sting, when they had those vignettes of a guy coming out of a haunted house and crows. Everybody thought it was Sting. That was like this is before Sting debuted in WWE,
Yeah.
and they thought it'd be, oh my god, we'd love to see Taker versus Sting at WrestleMania. And Vince offered him a contract, and Sting like, oh no, I'm staying in TNA. I'm like, why are you staying in TNA? You had a chance to face Taker at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
That
I
that
wasn't
makes no
much for
sense.
Steve. Steve
See Burden. Yeah,
No, what the
Burden
hell
or
was his name?
Borden.
Steve Borden.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Borden. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I mean,
Indy's
I,
lucky.
yeah, and
Indy was
then
at perfect games in the Yankees in the '90s, apparently.
No, Pirates and
oh,
Twins,
wow.
baby.
Yeah.
Pirates and Twins. Because I like the Steelers, and my man is from Minnesota, so he likes the Twins.
Fuck the troops. Well, that's old man Barker saying
I
that.
didn't
I
say
appreciate
that.
those
Okay, I was
comments.
gonna say I didn't
Well, he
say fuck
said
the troops. I
that. Yeah,
said fuck that
he said
dude.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to go back to real where Billy Gunn. Remember when they really
Okay.
trying to push him with the badass gimmick, the Billy
Oh yeah,
Badass
badass
with the.
Billy Gunn
Badass
and
Billy
Jesse
They
Gunn.
James.
really try to push that dude, but his mic
He won the King of the
skills.
Ring.
Oh, you didn't know?
No, right.
He won the King of the Ring in '99, I think it was. They're trying to push him.
Yeah, they try, but
I just
Vince
never
tried.
was really for bad
And
badass. And
neither
then the
was
whole
I.
ass thing,
yeah,
he'd show his
the ass
ass,
thing, right? Oh my
Mr.
god,
Ass or something.
I'm an
Ass.
ass man. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
I'm an
I'm
ass.
like,
ass
I don't
man.
want to see your ass, Billy Gunn.
Uh, and
Right,
Billy
right.
would slap his ass like this, part of the
Yes.
Yeah, he
gimmick.
would
Like,
slap his. You remember Rikishi? He would actually stick
yeah, yeah,
his ass in your face,
yeah.
and everyone
Right.
loved that shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
ugh,
Well,
ugh.
but I think I guess they got
Well,
that from. I'm pretty sure Vinnie Mac, because
well,
Vinnie
he
Mac also was one with the ass thing too.
Kiss My Ass Club. Yeah,
Right. Oh
Ugh.
my
And
god.
Vince did he did an interview. He's like, well, at least my ass was clean. I'm like, still, Vince.
Wow.
Nobody wants to see your fucking old
I,
ass.
I'm
Wow.
like, who kissed his ass? It was Regal. It was Mick Foley. A bunch of those guys kissed his ass, and I'm
Yeah.
like, hey,
Yeah.
e- even if my job was on the line, I'm like, I'm not kissing your ass, dude.
Even
Right.
when the giant sat on Kurt's face and
Mm,
he was going like this, in
mhm,
WCW. If you look at
mhm.
the Big Show, he was a
Yeah,
giant.
you're a giant.
When he sits on Kurt, I was just like, ew, come on, dude, really? Nobody wants to fucking eat your ass.
That was the
Especially
Andre.
Kurt.
It's
I
weird.
guess, yeah, that's on the. Supposedly they got that from Andre the Giant. He was that dude. That
Did
did those
Andre do?
ribs.
Yeah, Andre
Yeah,
did do that.
Andre did
Yeah.
an ass spot, kind of. He would like
Yeah.
drive your ass in the
Yeah.
corner.
Bro.
Yeah, I remember Jake told a story. Now take
Mm,
this with a grain of salt because it's Jake the Snake. But he
Yeah.
said Andre farted on him, and he's like, "Oh
Right.
my god!"
Mhm.
I
Well,
was like, "That had to be a rib."
Andre would drink a lot of alcohol.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So
he
when
would.
he farted, it would smell terribly. I believe that because I drink and I drink. I fart. It's like, oh fuck, man. Like,
I walked into the
Yeah.
bathroom this
Yeah.
morning after my
Right.
dad took a shit, and I'm just like, "Oh my god, Dad! Come on, really?"
Like, no, it's a
Well,
little potpourri. It's a little potpourri. Come on.
yeah, I
Like
mean,
Big Martel.
I'd be afraid to light a match, though. No, actually, there's a funny rib story for you. Shane Douglas actually told this. And check out my rib stories. Also
uh-huh,
check out my it's episode 13. My email gets answered by Shane Douglas.
yeah,
He talks about a plane story. Kurt was on a plane, and all the wrestlers were upgraded to first class. So they
uh,
were sitting in first class, and Kurt is literally sitting there, and there's one civilian guy who was not a wrestler. And he's like bothering Kurt, and Kurt's like,
oh
"Look, we
yes,
got a taping. I'd like to get some sleep, Yeah, okay. Well, he keeps, bothering him and bothering him. And Shane goes, Kurt's not the kind of guy that go, okay, guys, watch this. No, Kurt wasn't that way. So the guy
Yeah.
gets up to go to the bathroom, and Shane said Kurt does this, kind of puts his hand down his pants, fishes around a little bit, pulls his hand out, and puts a ring of what Shane Douglas said looked like chocolate on the guy's glass, the rim of the glass. Okay, and then the guy comes back and he's like,
Like
sits
this.
down, starts continuing to bother Kurt.
Mhm.
And
Right.
he takes he's just about to do it, and everyone's going, and he does it a couple times, and then Shane goes, he said he thought, well, the guy must smell it, because
He
I mean,
has to.
there was big chunks of shit on the rim of this guy's glass. And Shane said exactly the moment he thought that, the guy takes a big swig, licks his lips, he goes, excuse me, stewardess, can I have another glass? This one tastes like shit. Which again, I said on my thing,
Because it
which just
does.
goes to prove Kurt Hennig's shit does not stink, baby. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he's like, he didn't even notice. He's like, all right, so rookie year Randy Orton or rookie year John Cena?
Randy.
I was neither. I was for neither. I don't really like John Cena.
Well, John came with those, like, John was very vanilla. And Randy at least was a little bit, Randy Orton,
Because Randy is third generation, yeah.
Right.
But
Cena
Randy didn't really
wasn't-
have a lot of respect for the business. He sort of was very pompous, even backstage.
Yeah,
he kind of made enemies. And then finally,
he wasn't. He admits to this in his documentary. He's like,
yeah,
I was
that
an
documentary
asshole.
that just came out about
an
Randy
asshole.
Orton.
Yeah.
Was it a Dark Side of the Ring?
No, it was
Or
a
was it just
Peacock
a biography? I
thing.
think
Yeah,
it was
it was
just
a
a biography.
biography.
Yeah. And they admitted he had no
He
respect
admits
because
this,
yeah, I mean, and his father and grandfather were legends in the business, and he was like, "Fuck it, I don't give a fuck."
He was a natural. He was good, but
He was
he
really
didn't
good.
care. Yeah, he didn't care until recently. Like, he loves it now, but at the time when he was younger, he didn't give a shit.
Yeah, I
heard
wasn't much for John
stories.
Cena. I just like the Kurt Angle. I don't like Kurt Angle, but I like the one thing he said during those little rap battles. He's like, God, John, I at least found somebody who's whiter than I am.
I am. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yes.
I think
Because
one of
Cena
them,
had that rip-off Eminem gimmick,
Right,
the rapper
right.
gimmick. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I did enjoy, with Dr. Dynamics or whatever he had with the chain, and I'm like,
the Chain Gang.
Yeah,
Right.
Chain Gang.
Makes
Yeah,
me
I'm
think
like-
of that 80s song, Chain Gang.
And then the funny, he'd be like, I got to change with a lock and no key. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
What?
I'm
His
like, right. I'm
his
like,
raps
okay.
were corny.
Right.
But he
I'm
came
like,
out
what?
with his own rap album. I'm like, how do you come up with a rap album? He was corny.
Neither.
LOL, Edge or Christian?
Neither. I hated Edge and Christian.
No, Edge. By far.
Edge,
By far.
Wasn't
Edge
much
was
for
a
Christian
star.
Cage, and I hated Edge.
Christian was more like that's why he left WWE twice.
Right.
And when he went to TNA once and then went to AW recently.
Yeah. Can I just say one more thing about John Cena? They showed a thing about him where he got a night with a bunch of strippers, and literally they were told, he said they'll do whatever you want and plus anal. I was like, who gives a fuck? I don't give a fuck if you fuck a bunch of hookers. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Fucking wrestle,
Wow.
bitch.
Mm.
I don't give a fuck about your sexual fantasies. Ugh.
There's something.
You were
let me tell you.
engaged to Bella, and you fucking fucked around on her.
Right. There's something odd about John Cena and these characters that he plays in movies too. There's a lot of anal jokes. There's a lot of weird stuff. I'm like, okay, John.
We'll see.
Yeah, in the same interview, they were talking to Stephanie McMahon. This was on the Howard Stern show of all fucking places. They asked if Stephanie would let Triple H do anal, and she goes, "Hell, I'll let him do whenever." I'm like, come on, Jesus fucking Christ!
Right, I remember the Howard Stern one.
I let my man do anal, but I mean, I don't give a fuck about Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah, but back in those days, WWE was not PG, so they would go on a Howard Stern show, and they would ask.
Yeah. They would ask those really personal questions, and I'm just like,
He was open about that stuff.
Yeah, no, I remember the Howard Stern episode. I'm like, okay, and then talking about backstage, I'm like, okay, all right, Steph.
Yeah, and that's where Cena told that story about the strippers on his show, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't
So
like Howard Stern. I didn't like him when he was hip.
Yeah.
I thought he
Yeah.
was too. I mean, if you want to have a bunch of chicks, naked chicks, I mean, fucking anyone could do that.
He's
All you
gotten
have to
yeah,
do
worse
is get a
now.
bunch of naked chicks on your
you,
show. Oh, he was
He
edgy. No, he
yeah,
wasn't.
well,
he
Cena these days like to gets naked in the Oscars, so that's a
mm.
whole nother thing.
I'm like, and I didn't want to see that dude naked
No,
anyway. What the
no.
fuck?
Have you guys seen that movie with Cena and with that comedian? The oh my god, what's her name?
uh,
Schumer, where he's like supposedly banging
Amy,
her. Yeah,
Amy
Amy
Schumer.
Schumer. Yeah, there was a movie they made together. So while he's
You know,
banging her,
I know.
you know
he
that Chuck Schumer is her distant cousin, right?
supposedly I've heard.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer is her
I
distant
never
cousin,
heard
the
of that.
senator.
No,
The senator is her
Yeah.
distant cousin. Yeah.
So in
I'm
that
not
movie,
surprised because she was bitching about, oh, Jewish people are not safe. Oh, go
right?
fuck yourself.
Get out of here, Missy. The funny thing with that movie, so supposedly he so when John Cena is banging her, he's thinking about guys. So after a while, she's like, "Okay, I guess I'll let you bang in as long as you think about guys. As long as you continue banging me good." And I'm like, "Yo, John Cena plays these weird characters, but I've my understanding he's always been like that. He's always been kind of like out there." Pimp, whatever. When he was in high school, dressed as a black pimp or something like that.
I
I'm
think
like,
I
wow.
saw the bloopers for that movie, but I don't remember. I never seen it. But
Yeah.
it's them in bed together and they're laughing.
Right,
Like they're trying to like be romantic and stuff. And it's just like, and then they both start laughing for
right.
some reason. I don't know what they were laughing about, but trigger warning,
Uh,
Mrs. Perfect. Is it me or does Kurt Hennig look like Charlie Kirk with
oh
curly blonde
no.
hair?
Oh my
No, no
Oh
goodness.
way.
no.
My
Don't
goodness.
insult Kurt Hennig. Go see the
Which,
White House counselor, you bitch.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh no.
No, he don't look like Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
He looks like his
Mm,
mom. Actually, I just saw a picture of his mom. They said the introducing, Jesse Hennig, who is Kurt's brother, and he was also a wrestler. So, and they had pictures with him and Kurt and his dad Larry, and then with his mom Irene. And I'm just like, oh my god, he looks so much like his mom.
yes,
Kurt looks like his mom.
he
Eventually, he will
does.
look
Mhm.
like Larry. Yeah. But no, he
Yeah,
doesn't look like Charlie Kirk. I will come through this computer and beat
Oh,
the fucking shit out of you.
and I saw
yes.
that. I was like, oh no. I mean, I had
I'm
to
not
like
triggered,
deep check.
baby. I'm just telling it like it is. Uh-huh. Get to the White House counselor, as Kit says. Go on. I don't know where
Yeah.
Wendy Carbella is, but go find
Yeah.
her.
I love this like talk about old school wrestling. I mean,
Oh my god. I'm just
today,
sitting here laughing my
yeah,
tail off.
today wrestling today. It's like we briefly talked about what happened on Raw.
Mhm.
AEW was garbage as usual. I mean, I'm like, why do I watch this for the
Now I
show? But
rewatched WrestleMania 5 for you. So are
yeah,
we gonna talk about WrestleMania 5? And not Kurt's match because I already talked about that on my show.
yeah. I mean, I'm like, why am I watching this? I'm sitting here watching this, and I'm like, either I fall asleep or get angry. Depends on the week. Because
I listen to
I'm like,
George,
I'm
Jim
Jim.
Cornette.
Yeah, I listen to like, I'm like,
And I
why the
tried to get
fuck
up
am
on
I
his show,
watching
and then he
this?
comes out with another one. I'm like, fuck you, Jim.
Yeah,
I
I
was
was
all
like,
Yeah.
why
caught
am I
up. I
watching
was all
this?
caught
AW is
up.
garbage. And
Of course
yeah, I
it
Eh,
is.
mean,
Because they think they're top star wrestlers, and they're nothing but fucking shitty ass Circus Soleil
the
people.
Bucks, the Bucks are trash. Omega's trash.
Yeah.
Will
Omega, stay on
Ospreay is
Twitch.
definitely trash.
If Omega ever watches this, Omega, fucking stay on Twitch. You are the shits. I will say this to your motherfucking face.
Yeah, I mean, I would do.
And you'll
And
cower
I'm
like the
like,
little fucking snowflake you are. Excuse me,
what's his
little bitch
face?
boy you are.
Osprey. Will
mm.
Osprey is the same way. He's garbage
Will
too.
Ostrich.
Yeah. I'm like,
With
how?
that British
It's
accent.
like,
Oh,
yeah, he's like,
yeah. I wanted. There's
I just like the
I
artwork they
triggered.
do. They have an ostrich head and then his face.
I triggered AW marks throughout the week, so
Yeah, I was
oh, they
seeing some
going
of
for
that. I
you.
actually, but I accidentally read one of the things wrong, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, shit. They
no.
weren't
I
talking
mean,
about me. They were talking about those snowflakey people, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Because I was
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
I am a fucking woman, you bastard. I ain't no
no,
fucking neck beard. What the fuck are you talking
one
about?
of them said something to the effect of, Well, I mean, you're doing this to promote your shitty podcast. I'm like, yeah,
What? Doing what? Putting
y-
AEW down like we should? It's
yeah,
called facts. If you don't like that, I
yeah,
Right.
don't give a fuck.
yeah. It's facts, and because I put
Facts
in my
don't care about your
bio,
feelings,
I
bitch.
put in my bio about pro wrestling talks. Oh, you're just promoting your shitty podcast. I'm like, okay,
And
yeah. I
that's
mean,
fine.
yeah,
You
that's
don't
fine.
have to
I mean,
watch it. If you don't
you don't
like
have
the
to
facts we
watch.
spout,
Yeah,
don't watch it.
yeah, you're
Yeah, because
promoting your shitty podcast.
I had
They should
someone
be
on my
watching
Mrs.
us.
Witchy
Yeah,
my Mrs. Witchy profile. They're
uh huh.
like, you just talk shit about AEW, but you don't walk the walk. I said, if you think we're talking shit about AEW and we're not spouting facts, come on the show. Well,
Yeah,
why
I
can't you
mean,
just talk to me now? I said, because this is not for YouTube comment section. If you really want to come on and you want
yeah.
to take us down about AEW, come on the show. And he
I've
never
told them
once messaged you.
no. Because
No.
I have no problem with having one of these AEW guys come on the show and
Yeah,
explain
come
to
on the
me why
show
it's
and debate
good.
us and tell us why AEW is the best.
Maybe I'm
And
wrong.
we'll listen.
Maybe I'm wrong, and it's
And
good,
we'll
but
listen. And we'll
I'm
listen.
not wrong. But
Absolutely.
Well, I will sit here and listen to
Right.
let's
everything you have to
go.
say.
You know.
Yankees win again.
They
Yankees win
Nice.
cheated.
again.
They
No, come on.
cheated.
They win
That was a
again.
Come
perfect
on.
win.
Ouch.
Ah!
Ouch.
Let's
I will give
go.
them props. They because Wade Boggs was Kurt's good friend.
Mhm.
And he was on the Yankees. So I will give props to the Yankees just because of Wade Boggs.
I'm trying to
But
remember.
yeah,
So those vignettes, though. I'm sorry, Angel. Those vignettes, though.
uh-huh.
Was
Vignettes.
it vignette?
No, my man picks on me all the time. He goes, vignettes. I'm like, or he goes, vignettes. I'm like, I said it wrong one time.
I
One
gotta
Uh-huh.
be.
time I said it wrong.
I gotta remind people I'm the Puerto Rican George Mandela. I got an
And he won't
accent.
let me live it down. It's vignettes.
No, those things.
Uh-huh.
Wasn't Wade Boggs with Boston? Because that was like the early '90s,
Well,
When
right?
he was in Kurtz, yeah.
he
He was
was with the Yankees
actually,
in '96, but that was
yeah,
before.
but he was
So
actually with the Twins in
Box
'93 when, yeah, it said third baseman for the Twins.
Oh, that's
Go back and
right.
watch that vignette because the
Yes, he
baseball,
did.
because Wade Boggs
Because
talks
he
about that in
he
Kurt's special, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm standing out in left field, just like, oh, he's gonna hit it to me, or he's gonna hit a foul ball or something." The motherfucker hits a home run the first time. Yeah, he points and he hits
Yeah.
the home run.
No, but those vignettes
Wade
were
Boggs is like,
legitimate,
"Fuck."
apparently.
oh yeah,
They were legitimate. Kurt was a great athlete. I mean, he
Oh, he
would
was
do any
and he
eh,
played baseball in high school, and he
yeah, he
played
was
football.
it's not like they were made up and, there was just camera tricks. No, they were apparently he was legitimate, it was
The
like,
only camera trick one was because of the bowling. I saw the bowling bloopers. He does
uh-huh.
leave a 10-pin standing. I was
Yeah.
just staring at him like, fuck. No, but
And
that happens. It
the
happens.
one when he throws the football and he catches himself, that was
right,
not
Yeah,
right,
legitimate
that
either,
was
but
tricks. Yeah, that was
yeah.
camera tricks because
Yeah,
but he was good at it and he looked legit. But he was
yeah, that's
actually
why
really throwing it to the tight end from
yeah.
oh
the Vikings.
oh
I
yeah,
don't remember the guy's name.
something Jordan or Steve Reed. I remember him.
Yeah,
I
he was the
remember
tight
him.
end for the
Joe
Yes.
Carter.
Vikings.
No, not Joe. Well, Joe Carter. What?
Yeah, that's the Blue Jays outfielder who hit that
Oh
home
yes,
run
yes.
to end the World Series.
Oh, in
Uh,
'92.
yeah,
I don't
92.
think Kurt knew him, but Kurt
Oh
liked
shit.
baseball and he followed
No,
baseball.
no, it was Anthony Carter, the tight end from Minnesota. Something
Yeah.
Oh,
Carter. I
okay.
remember.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Yeah, it
Carter.
was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anthony Carter. I remember
they
that
had
dude.
him in his vignette for the football one, and then the
Metrodome.
basketball one was just really cool because he just got to show off his
Wow.
basketball skills. But he played all that stuff in high school and college too. So
Yeah,
Kurt was an
Wow.
that's what
all-around athlete. Yeah.
he was legitimate. That's why
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, these days it's like someone like Chad
And he wasn't
Gable
a
or
quarterback or anything, but in the vignette, he's like said,
uh,
"Huh," and he was a
Huh?
quarterback, and he would throw the ball to the tight end. But in college, I think Kurt was a cornerback. Pretty sure. Look it
yeah.
up, but I'm pretty sure he was a cornerback.
I could see
He was
that.
defense.
I
Yeah,
know he
defense.
played football. Yeah, I know he played
He was
football in
6'3".
college.
That's why. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
6'3".
And well, and when thing, but the thing with Perfect, and I would say he was, I gravitated to the heels and Perfect before Shawn Michaels. Perfect was one of those heels with the gum. Like,
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
on, who did that? Who? I'm like, who did that? I'm like, what? With the spearmint, whatever the 25-cent gum. Well, I'm in the hood,
I don't
so I
know.
got it.
That's
I'm in the
funny.
hood. 25 cents was a lot of money, so I had to get
Yeah.
the bazooka Joes.
Oh.
It was like 5 cents, and I was able to read and learn how to read with them things. But
Yeah,
yo,
I like the story that Bruce Pritchard told, even though it pissed off Kurt's ex. Um, he said that Kurt would always tell the story of Joe when he was 10 years old in baseball. He would get up to the plate, smack his gum. He would and smack his gum, and I would have been like, "Yeah, high five!" But apparently that pissed off Kurt's ex.
No.
But
Well,
Kurt was like all excited. Oh yeah, chip off
yeah.
the old block, right?
The what amazes me is these days WWE is hiring. They're signing a bunch of college athletes to train in WWE in the performance center. They call it
College athletes, as in college wrestlers,
uh wrestlers, football players, basketball, gymnasts, whatever. Like they're signing a bunch of college kids to
gymnasts.
yeah. They sign girls, that are gymnasts, and it's like
Yeah,
okay.
well, and in the '90s, it was Russo getting underwear models
Well, yeah, today they
because
wouldn't
he would
do
jack
that. They
off to
would,
them.
yeah, they'd be like, today it's like, okay, let's get legitimate athletes that are male or female and
Okay,
train them
that's
to
fine,
wrestle.
but I mean, I would go after wrestlers because girls can be wrestlers too.
Yeah, yeah.
Excuse me, my cousin's daughter she's a girl and she's a wrestler. She's a amateur
Oh,
wrestler,
okay.
and she's on the wrestling team too.
well,
Like,
Brock's
like
daughter.
we talked about a
No,
few
my
weeks
cousin's
ago.
daughter.
No, I'm saying, no, I'm sorry.
Oh,
No, but I mean that Brock's daughter is a wrestler. Or
Yeah,
yeah,
whatever.
Brock's
yeah. She got
daughter.
some kind of
Right,
achievement award for being a
right.
I
amateur
think she
wrestler.
she won she won an award for javelin throwing too in college.
Yeah, she did.
Give her
Yeah,
Yeah, they were
5 years.
so
talking about
Sure.
that.
yeah,
Like
She
the
gave her
kids of the
5 years.
wrestlers is what they were talking
that
about, and yeah.
that girl looks just like Brock, and
Oh
Yes.
my
like
god, and so does the
Brock.
boy, and they're
It's like
fraternal
Brock.
twins.
If he puts on a wig, Brock puts on a wig just like his daughter. It's like what the
Wait a
fuck?
minute, Missy. Ain't Brock your neighbor? Ain't he from like Minnesota?
No, he was from Wisconsin. He
Oh,
went
Uh,
to the University of Minnesota.
ah,
Paul Heyman or Paul Bear.
Paul
Paul
Bear.
Heyman. I say I'm a Paulie
Uh,
I
guy.
wasn't much for Heyman.
Paul
I'm
Lee
a Paulie.
Dangerously in WCW. I mean, that's the first time I saw him. I
Nah.
call him Paul Lee all the
I
time.
like Percy Pringle.
yeah,
That's his real name. Paul Bear's real name.
yeah.
He's so southern too. Oh my god. I saw the interview you gave me and I'm like, oh my god, he is southern drawn. Holy
Hmm.
shit.
Yeah.
And they
I
have a
went
picture
down the
with him and it was one of the country singers. But I can't
I'll be
remember which
back.
country singer
Excuse
he was
me.
in a picture with. It
Mm.
was awesome. I was like, holy shit. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, yeah. Paul Bearer. When I hear his story, a lot of people like him. Off, whatever the script, whatever it is.
Hmm.
It says a good guy. But yeah, when he told us like, I'm off the corner. I'm like, okay. And then
Well,
when
that whole
Paul,
thing, I like the whole thing. Like, he tried to pass him off as Kane's, father or something.
right.
And then
Oh
him and
yeah,
Jerry Lawler sitting there talking about how he fucked Taker's mother. I'm just like, oh my god.
yeah, right.
I'm
I
just like,
remember that storyline, man.
and then and Lawler came on and apologized. I'm like, no, you should talk to Percy.
And then
But that
when
was just, it was part of the gimmick.
and that person when he did the Hall of Fame, his son straight from the cloth. I mean, I'm a Paulie guy. I remember there was this match with that Paulie was running backstage on his underwears or something to that.
That was a match with Cornette. That was a
Yeah,
tuxedo match with Cornette.
right.
I
Oh
also
my
remember Cornette
goodness.
talks about where he hits him in the face with a phone.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman hits him in the face
And
with a phone, and he has a white suit on, and he's fucking
yes,
bleeding all over the place.
that was part of the reason why Dusty was fired as Booker, because Turner didn't allow any blood at the time.
Right.
Turner Broadcasting. So it was like Cornette was bleeding into his white suit, and it's like, oh no. And then later, Dusty did an angle, and he tried to turn the Road Warriors heel,
Hmm.
and they put a spike in his eye, and he's bleeding out of his eye. So that's when they finally said, "Fuck it, we're
Mm.
firing Dusty as Booker. Enough's enough of this shit."
I just heard a interview with Scott Norton. He talks about Meng,
Yeah,
or Haku.
Haku.
When in WCW, he had this like fro, and it's like it just like a hairball with no face, and he accidentally stuck his thumb in his eye, and he's like, and Ming apologized to him. He's like, dude, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to hit you in the eye, but I couldn't see you.
Oh,
And Meng is like, I'm so sorry.
Meng and Haku were legitimate badass. I mean, you see this, you hear the stories about Haku. It's like, whoa,
Yeah, he was
Right.
a total badass.
yeah.
But there was a news clipping because I listened to all 5 hours of like wrestling in the news or something, and there
Hmm.
was a 1989 arrest thing for Haku. He made a
Yeah,
woman try to bow in front of him because he was King Haku. And I'm
yeah.
like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Well,
But
that's
they
his
always say
gimmick.
how
Mm.
nice he was. Oh, he was such a nice guy.
Well,
That's
Right.
he
not
was
being
trying
nice.
his gimmick.
Barefooted.
He's trying to keep with his gimmick.
I
Mm.
guess either that or he was hopped up on something.
Yeah. All right, here's
Wow.
one that might make you choose one, Mrs. Perfect. Jimmy Hart or Bobby Heenan.
Bobby Heenan.
The Brain. Yeah, I would go with the
Yes,
Brain
big
too.
time.
Even though
Even
you
at,
love to hate him, he was still he still had that something extra.
even as an announcer, him and
Hmm.
Gorilla Monsoon. Oh my
Oh, they were
goodness.
Oh, they were
fantastic.
what I call them is
Wow.
TV soulmates. They were
Yeah,
TV
they
Wow.
soulmates.
were
Him and
perfect together.
Gorilla.
And
Yep.
Gorilla, yeah, they were perfect together.
I mean, Gorilla would be like, "Yo, Bobby, you didn't see that? He cheated." I'm like, he'd be like, "Gorilla, you can't even spell cheat."
No, no, I didn't see that.
I just saw the I'm going through 89 now, and I just saw the one where they're in Tucson. They're on location, and I also like Gorilla after it was the when Red Rooster gets hit by Brooklyn Brawler, and
Uh-oh.
then Gorilla gets hit too, and they're sitting there arguing about it, and Gorilla goes, "Yeah, and he's taking this 2x4, and he's literally
Gorilla.
pounding it on the desk. So I mean,
I
yeah,
I grew up with Gorilla, and it was like by '96, he was the
old and
commissioner.
frail,
He
yeah,
was the
Right.
commissioner, and it
but
was
he was
like,
very old and frail.
yes, and
Yeah.
when Vince bought the WWF from his dad, the Gorilla gave him his stock, but in exchange is like, oh, you got to give me a job for life. It's like, okay, I'll give you a
Yeah,
job for
yeah,
life.
that's what he did, and that
Yeah.
dude, he because he knew the business, and him and Bobby they have an interview from like 2007, I think, from Bobby Heenan on Title Match,
Yeah.
and they just talk about, he's like, Gorilla will tell you this, and Gorilla will tell you, this is if you're in this business to, just because you like wrestling, you're in it for the wrong reasons. Gorilla would
Hmm.
say, if you're not in it for money, get out.
No reason to be in. Yeah.
Right. But I think
Gor-
that's disingenuous because I think, a lot of wrestlers did want to do it for the wrestling.
Yeah, but the money was, that's the main reason. And Gorilla had great matches with Bruno back in the '60s. I mean, it's like
Hmm.
Gorilla. Everybody, Gorilla
Yeah,
was a heel
everywhere.
then. He was a
Yeah,
heel in
yeah,
the
He
yeah.
also
'60s.
had good matches with Larry Hennig
Yeah.
because he talks so highly of Larry Hennig. He's just like, oh, God, that dude was tough. Well, yeah, he was tough.
Yeah, and then Gorilla in the mid '90s. By that point, Steve Austin was debuting in wrestling. He was like, "What did he say to if you
Oh,
I- if you
you
had
say you're
a
uh
gorilla, but you
yeah, you parade around here like a jackass.
the jackass, yeah." And it's like he was the commissioner, and Gorilla looked at him
Brilliant.
like it was
But
like, wow.
But I mean, Gorilla didn't take any of that to heart.
No,
Right.
no, of course not. I
He
mean,
knew
he's a
exactly,
worker. He's an old
yeah.
worker, so he
And,
But
understood.
he
Like,
he sold it. He's like, oh
yeah,
yeah, he's like, get out of here, son. And then you
right.
see Gorilla Mouth. I'm not your son.
And in my understanding, for those people, I guess in YouTube, the gorilla position was named after Gorilla Monsoon.
Gorilla
Gorilla
Monsoon.
Monsoon,
That's
yeah,
Right.
right, because
yeah.
he
But
was in
though,
that position.
He would be
right.
there, yeah, for
Can
WWF
we
tapings.
can we tell some of these people that's gonna watch it the Gorilla Monsoon? The gorilla position is what again? You're behind the curtain.
It's more like
It's
you're
behind the curtain
but you're
It's
like sitting
like a
there
desk.
in like yeah, you're watching the show, you know,
Right.
Because
like on
Okay.
a
Vince would be on
TV.
commentary. Vince would be on commentary usually, so Gorilla would run the show from the Gorilla
And
position,
then we
or
Right.
would be
right
behind
behind
the
the
curtains.
curtain, basically.
Yeah, basically.
So
You
that's
see
what the
this?
Gorilla position is.
You see, we educate people here too. You know
Uh
what I
huh.
mean? I'm just
Well,
telling.
and that one someone had commented and said that we were very knowledgeable about this stuff. Sorry. It's because we
No
lived through
worries.
it, one, and
Right.
then two, I can't stop watching all these interviews where they talk
Yeah, I
about.
do
I mean,
too.
Me too. Me
even
too.
with like Bret Hart or like with Barry Windham, I even managed to sit through a beefcake one. So you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, me too.
Beefcake,
With his
it
beefcake,
was pretty
motorcycle,
crazy.
in Tampa Bay,
beefcake.
riding his
The
motorcycle.
fucking Hogan's boy Beefcake has the dark side of the ring.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does. He
It
but the
does.
came a
thing
new
is, he's
episode
not
came out.
really dead.
No,
He's
he
not.
had
He didn't self delete or delete. You know,
Right.
his fucking wife is like a stripper. It looks like a stripper. Like
Yes.
Missy
yeah, her,
Beefcake. Yeah.
yeah, her tits are out. I'm like,
And I
what the
saw that
fuck?
interview with Greg, the Hammer Valentine. He's like,
N-
Missy, yeah, Missy, Beefcake is a cunt. She's a cunt, and he kept saying it. I'm just like,
I,
well, tell me how you really feel,
I
Greg.
wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the way she looked is like, and
Right.
his wife seemed to control him. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's weird.
Yeah, because I
Hogan,
think
I
they.
mean, Hogan controlled him. Like he
Yeah,
Right.
hung
Hogan
around
controlled
Hogan, and
him
it's like,
first. Yeah, because they were good
yeah,
friends. They were best friends.
yeah.
Right. Well, from that St.
Ter-
Petersburg,
ter-
Tampa Bay area, like, come on, you got Ric Flair living there.
honestly,
What wrestler doesn't live there?
honestly, if I were Briefcase and like I'm Beefcake, I'm
Oh
like,
no.
well, Hogan's the top guy, so let me hang around this guy and get a job for life, which is basically what
Right.
happened. He
With all
got a
those
job in
like 10,
WCW because of Hogan. He
Yeah.
was
yeah,
a
those 10,000
disciple. He
gimmicks.
was fucking
Well,
whatever
they
gimmick he
say,
had in
And when he
well, they
WCW.
came
say the
back, he was
Zodiac.
with Hogan. When he came back
Right.
from his
Yeah.
accident, he was with Hogan, Ted DiBiase, and he was also with IRS.
Mm.
So yeah,
That
if I
Money
were
Inc.
Beefcake, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna be with Hogan because I get a job for life. I'm his boy.
Right.
Because I'm
Right.
never gonna be a
But
star,
when
you know.
he actually Kurt or not Kurt, Brett says this in his book that he actually hung around with them at one point. Because they went to a party, Brett's 31st birthday party bash, and it was him, Kurt, Rick Rude, Jim Neihart, and then the ring announcer that was a girl named Mike, because her father
Mike McGraw.
had
I think
always
it's Mike
wanted
McGraw. Her dad
something.
was an old promoter,
Was
and
yeah, and he wanted a
yeah,
boy, so he named
yeah,
even though she
Mike.
was a girl, named him
He made
Mike.
her Mike. Yeah,
And
Mm.
Mike. I think it's McGraw. I'm pretty sure
she
her name
also
was.
had background in some amateur wrestling, so
Uh,
Beefcake amateur wrestled her at this party. And Brett just makes a comment like, "Oh, we knew what he was, getting into." So apparently, I don't know if they were
Wow.
fucking each other at the end or whatever.
Was it Mike
Wow.
McGraw? I think I'm pretty sure her name was Mike McGraw.
I think it
I
was Mike
remember
McGraw.
McGraw because I remember on the Tales of the Territory her father was Leroy a Leroy McGurk or something. McGurk, that's what it was. And
Mhm.
Ted DiBiase was dating her, and McGurk was like, "I'm gonna murder
Get
this
out.
guy."
Ted DiBiase and her were
Yeah,
were
Ted DiBiase in Mid South. It was
boinking.
Mid South. In Mid South, yeah. And McGurk was, "I'm gonna murder him." And Jr. was there. Jim Ross was like, "Oh shit, what do I do?" So he called Cowboy Bill Watts. Is like, "Well, McGurk's gonna murder Ted DiBiase. What do I do?" It's like, "Oh, don't worry, I handle him." And he never did it, obviously. But
Yeah, well,
DiBiase
Leroy
was screwing
wanted a
around with Lee.
son and ended
Yeah,
up with a daughter,
yeah.
and because of that,
He named
he
her
named
Mike.
her
Yeah,
Mike. Yeah,
and she ended
but
up
she
a
was
ring
the ring
announcer in
announcer,
WWF. Yeah,
right, in
and
88 and
yeah,
89. Because she just did a Kurt Hennig match too. She
yeah.
always says it wrong. It's Kurt Hennig. No, it's Hennig. Hennig. Why can't you people get this? It's
Heard it.
Hennig.
Kurt Hennig. Kurt Hennig. I'm
The
sorry.
only one that
Wait.
seemed to do it right was Howard Finkel.
How to
Because
Finkel?
there
Yeah.
was also an African American ring announcer, and he would say Henning.
That
No,
was
it's
the guy.
Hennig.
That was a guy who would screw around little kids. That ring announcer.
Oh no,
Mm.
a
I forget
pedophile.
his name. Yeah, I forget his. Why do I forget his name? It's
No, it's
Terry
not
Garvin.
Henning. It's
It,
Hennig.
it was Terry Garvin.
Hennig.
It was Terry
Sorry, go ahead.
Garvin, Pat Patterson, and the ring announcer was black. I forget his name right now.
Yeah, I
But
don't know his
him, yeah,
name. Okay, so
yeah, it
that he
was
was
him.
part of that
He was part of that
uh
Ring Boy scandal.
Ring Boy scandal. Oh
Wow.
boy,
And Vince
wow.
somehow got away with that. And Vince was like, "Well, I didn't know about that, pal."
Right.
I
And
don't think
everybody got
Pat
away with
Patterson
it.
was involved. They just named Pat Patterson because he was gay.
Uh,
Bad cookies, I
maybe
will come
because
through this computer. Don't make me come through this
it's the
computer.
early '90s, so maybe yeah, Patterson was named because he was gay. But I know
That's
Pat
just what
Patterson was
someone had
named in that
said.
scandal. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was named in
someone
that
had said
scandal.
that Pat Patterson really had nothing to do with it, but he was just
Uh,
named because there
Yeah,
was
that's
also a wrestler that I can't remember his name right now, but he was gay, and he was the one that this all started with. That he
was
would
it?
give
I
the ring
remember.
boy. He would promise these ring boys that would set up the ring, like he would
Yeah.
promise them the world for sexual favors.
That was
So I was
allegedly
like,
what was going
"Ooh,
on.
God
dang.
damn." But
That's
And
there
even.
are
That's
gay
he
even.
was
wrestlers.
There,
Did you
wasn't it
know
there's.
that?
Barry. I know Barry Orton accused Pat Patterson of inappropriately touching him. Randy Orton's uncle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that the Brooklyn Brawler was gay?
No, I
No.
didn't.
Yeah. Steve Lombardi
Wow.
was
Wow.
gay. Yeah.
Wow.
In
I
fact,
figured.
they said him and I think Pat Patterson had it was somebody. Him and Pat had a relationship, or
I
maybe
wouldn't be
Steve Lombardi
surprised
thought they had a
Right.
relationship.
Right.
because Lombardi had a job for years and years in WWF. So I
Right.
wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised if they were screwing around, which is why he had that job.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you guys didn't know that. Yeah, Steve.
No, I
It
No.
didn't
came
know
out. I
that.
was watching
I know
a who's
everything. I
who
know a
of gay
lot of things.
wrestlers. You know.
Right. I mean, it's funny because there's a lot of even in the NFL and sports, but there is a lot of gay wrestlers. I've
There is
heard a lot
a
of
girl
stuff.
that married her partner. Oh, she's a wrestler. I can't remember her name now,
I mean,
but she
I think
married her partner.
um,
I'm trying to
Sonya
think.
Deville is gay.
Yeah,
Probably that's who that is. Yeah, she
Yeah,
married her
she.
partner.
but
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
but that's more common with the women coming out more than the men, for sure.
there as
For
far
sure.
to even today, there's not that many gay men wrestlers.
But
That
even
that that guy, that
Mm,
independent guy, Effie, he's
yeah,
gay.
Effie.
well,
I think he's
Yeah,
gay. More
yeah.
well,
like.
the right, and then I think the WWE had a gay wrestler that came out. He was black dude. That a lot of people was like making fun of him because
What's
he
his
looked like
face?
John
Not
something
Lashley,
young.
but yeah, he
Mm-mm.
was a black
Oh,
guy.
yeah. But
Uh,
then
Not Bobby Lashley,
no, no,
no,
no,
no,
no.
but
no. It was
someone
Lashley.
similar.
something young. I mean,
Darren Young. Darren Young. He's the gay
yeah,
guy.
Okay,
right.
yeah.
So
Yeah, he came out as gay, and which the only reason why WWE kept him for years because they didn't
right,
want to fire him because you fire him, you're anti-gay, and he probably
I
would have
agree
sued
with
them.
that. Bad cookies. I agree with that. I wouldn't
Oh
be surprised if
no,
Chris Jericho was bi.
there's no way
He
Chris
probably.
Jericho
How do
100%
you think he
straight.
got to where he is? He sucked a lot of dick to get there.
Well,
yeah,
I didn't say that, but
I did,
right.
and I'll say it
okay,
again
well,
to Jericho's
yeah.
face. He actually convinced his wife that he was abducted by aliens. This is how unserious this person is.
Jericho,
Wow.
his son, his
He
father is
was
Chris
cheating. He
Irving.
was cheating.
His
Probably
father
with a
was
guy.
his father's Chris Irving, the hockey player. So how the hell is he adopted by aliens or whatever?
I don't know. That's just
His father
it
is
was
Chris
on Jim
Irving, the
Cornette.
hockey
Look it
player.
up. Look it up. It was on Jim Cornette.
I
Chris
won't
Jericho
pass
says
that.
he was
I won't
abducted by
pass that.
aliens.
I
Jericho's
enjoy Chris.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I enjoy Chris Jericho. To be honest with you, I enjoyed him.
I didn't.
Well,
I
no
hated
funny
that
stuff.
dude.
I take it back. No funny stuff. I
I,
enjoy watching him.
I
you
never
know.
took him
Serious,
seriously.
especially when he had a supposed temper tantrum after his match with Kurt on December 29th Nitro in 1997. He
Mm,
lost to him and then just starts banging a chair up against it. I was like, nope, I'm not going to take you seriously, dude.
Yeah, I guess he was politicking for a better spot in
right,
WCW,
right.
Well, and
and
there's
then
also
he
like a rumor that he would hide. If he didn't want to do a match, he would hide somewhere in the rafters of the buildings.
Mm,
and in WCW they didn't notice, so it was like, like let's just
right,
change the
right.
Whatever.
match. They didn't
Just
look for him.
Mhm.
yeah, fuck the
But
match.
eventually, I didn't once when he beat Steve Austin and The Rock in the same night. I'm like, and King of the Ring. I'm like, how is this fucker undisputed, the first ever undisputed champion?
Well, then
I
there was
mean,
something.
He
Someone
was
had
he
said
beat
on Facebook or something about there was never an like a Hogan, Stone Cold, and a
still.
few more wrestlers were like the ultimate champion or whatever. And someone pointed out, and they're like, "Are you stupid or something?" And I'm like, there was no ultimate champion back in the Stone Cold days, you fucking moron.
Yeah,
Don't call us
yeah.
stupid. Call yourself stupid. You're looking
Jericho.
in a mirror.
Well, when Vince bought WCW, that was the undisputed champion. Because
but with
there
the
was no
two
other
belts,
competition.
Right, but
So
this is the ultimate, like it was in like an ultimate champion that
that's stupid.
it didn't even come out till like 2010. Well, that was after all those guys when they had been in the
Eh,
business in the
It's
era.
ridiculous. And when
Different
Jericho won
era.
that, when Jericho beat Steve Austin and The Rock in the same night, who was it? It was a wrestler. It might have been Nash or Hall. Said the business died that day when Jericho
Hmm.
won those championships
Yeah,
because
because
it's
he
like,
was a mid card guy at
yeah,
best.
yeah,
Excuse me, at best.
yeah. And I'm like, even me, I'm like,
Sorry.
what the fuck? How did he beat Steve Austin? Why would you put it? Why would Vince put him over Steve Austin and The Rock?
What did you say that Vince said right in front of Chris Jericho?
Yeah, Taker. He was telling Taker, you know how the business dies, pal? Is like, how? I was like, well, we're putting the belt on Jericho tonight. And Jericho's like, what? Me? It's like,
right?
he's- I'm
And
like,
ever
why the
since
fuck would you
then,
do
that
that?
dude's got a big head about him
Yeah,
and he thinks he's great.
mm.
But he's the shits.
Yeah, it's like me. It's like, why would you put you know that Jericho is a main eventer. Why put the belt on him? Unless he was trolling. He didn't care. It's like, I have no competition anyway, so fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
I'll put the
enjoy
belt on
Jericho
Jericho.
for a little bit, and then unless they probably if when they saw him to go to the where they had
Yeah.
this big Y2J countdown
Well,
for
he
months.
Yeah, that
debuted.
Y2J.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that, bing,
He
bing.
debuted with against The Rock.
Well,
Yeah, I
the
He
hated
Rock,
it.
interrupted The
yeah,
Rock, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
And
my
then
thing is this: unless
And
they
that
gave him
whiny
like
ass
2 million,
voice.
then I could understand why they push it because I'm pretty sure they gave him a lot of money.
yeah, talking about The Rock, I mean, real quick, I do have to wrap up because my battery's dying. But real quick before my battery dies, The Rock, I should have brought my charger, but I forgot. But The Rock, he's sucking up everybody today. I mean, it's like Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. I mean, everybody forgot about these guys, and it's all about The Rock. And it's like, well, I mean, Rocky's having his midlife crisis right now, so he's
Yeah.
come back to wrestling. And on top of that, his movie career is falling apart because of Black Adam and that shit. And he's why he's back in wrestling. But he's doing, to be fair, he's not doing bad work. I mean, it's just like, as a heel at least, but it's like, come on, dude. I mean, you're
Yeah.
53 or whatever it is, you
Yeah,
know? I
this
mean,
isn't the 90s anymore, Rock. You're not
yeah.
relevant anymore. Sorry.
It,
I mean, my thing in my, I guess my thought would be that if the Rock, I guess would be his last time and last time to get a
Let's
little
fucking hope
pain
so.
of wrestling.
I'm so sick of seeing
well,
Yeah, I
him.
get it. This is his
well, real
last time.
quick, The Rock is a part of the board of directors. So
Oh,
if he
Yeah, so
wants
I don't
TKO.
think
to,
he's going anywhere, unfortunately.
no, unfortunately, I'm sure he'll have a match with Roman Reigns at some point. He'll have a match with Cody Rhodes later in the year because
Yeah.
there's no way that
The better
after
question is Stone Cold or Rock, and I'm gonna go Stone Cold every time because I
I'm
hated
gonna
The
go
Rock.
Austin every time too.
Yeah, I
But
was never a Rocky
if
fan. I didn't like The
yeah,
Rock at all. Even when he was Rocky Maivia in the Nation of Domination.
yeah,
I
that
hated
was
that
kind of
dude.
funny. But yeah, I mean, I do have to. My
Yeah,
battery's
I'm not
dying,
feeling. I
but
was just gonna say I'm not feeling too well. My acid
yeah.
reflux is
So
going weird.
So real quick, we next Friday, Pro Wrestling Talk will be on Friday at 7 next week because of
Friday at
WrestleMania
7.
week. We
I'll
will
be
be
there.
we'll be previewing WrestleMania. D will be there. Hopefully, Greg will be here too with us. The A team will be back together to preview WrestleMania, And then
Yes.
the week after, we'll review WrestleMania with all four of us. Hopefully, if we're able to come back, all four of us. But yeah, we'll be on Friday at 7. Angel in the afternoon will be on probably Monday or something. We'll see, but yeah, I mean, we'll definitely be together next week, next Friday at 7. So set your
Yep.
calendars now.
All
Yeah. Make
right,
sure you
folks.
make sure you tell Kid that he has to watch. I said so.
Okay.
Well, we
Yeah,
make it happen. You already know my
Make it
peoples.
happen. That's right.
yeah. So it's gonna be all four of us next Friday, hopefully at 7. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean I've pretty much finished his entire beer, but
And
Yeah,
remember,
let's go.
everybody, nobody beats Mr. Perfect. Nobody.
nobody.
Body. Because we
Yep.
making it happen. You already know. Deconstructing, Angel, missing,
Yep.
much love. I'm out.
Yeah. All right.
Wolfpack.
Peace.
Too
Until next time, we'll
sweet.
see you guys next Friday at 7.